Happy holidays, everybody. I hope everybody is doing well out there. It's good to see you. I've got my great friend Lee Skwarek from PNP Games, who I see every weekend, although we have never met in person. But he is a fantastic component of EP Classic every weekend through the continued support of PNP Games, of the work that we're doing with the classic episodes. Welcome, you guys. We've got a fun show ahead for all of you, and it's going to, there's a little spoiler right there. We're going to talk about ASTRO BOT in a second, but we've got a ton of games, and PNP is here.
Yes.
Lee representing PNP to kind of talk about some of the sale prices on some of these games. This idea came to me. It's like, I'm going to tell you guys what I think is worth checking out if you're looking for gifts for the holidays or you're looking for stuff to pick up for yourself, let's be honest. And I thought, you know what? It would be kind of cool if there were actual prices for some of these things or deals for some of these things and maybe some other little secrets. But welcome, Lee. It is great to see you. Thank you for doing this with us today. This is amazing.
Oh my goodness. Happy Thursday, Canadians. Happy Thanksgiving to our friends downstairs. Welcome, everyone. Let's fill it with holiday cheer. Sorry, yes. YouTube, you're going to get this live to tape.
Yeah.
There were some technical issues, but yeah, we have a lot planned. Victor plays a lot of video games every year, and he's going to talk about them. And I sell a lot of video games, so I'm going to let you know if any of them are on sale, and a lot of them are. So stay tuned to that. We're also going to have some giveaways, some coupons. So hang in the chat, keep us open in the corner while you play something if you're on holiday, and let's have some fun. Let's talk about video games. Yeah.
Absolutely. And I see in the chat, who was first in the chat? Darth Taz was first. I see Pollywog is here. Hello, gentlemen. Good to see you. Nolan FSC, Mondo. Game Seeker is gifting subs. You are the best, my friend. Wilden, good to see you. Morden, he says good morning to everybody. I see Slow Clap and Ninty Fan. It's great to have everybody here. And yeah, so just grab a pen and paper and let's get into talking about some of the best games of 2024 as we're heading into the holidays. And we're going to start with ASTRO BOT. This is a PlayStation 5 exclusive, and if you notice, I put little icons of the various platforms that you can play these titles on. But ASTRO BOT is just joy. I mean, it's start to finish. You have a smile on your face. There's all of these great little abilities that ASTRO BOT has. He's a very malleable little hero. You know, he's got all of these different versions of himself, and he's rescuing different versions of himself. And then, of course, you're emulating all kinds of PlayStation classics. It's a love letter to 30 years of PlayStation as well. I mean, it is just a wonderful, wonderful experience. Did you play this one, Lee?
So I didn't play ASTRO BOT. I did play Astro's Playroom, which comes packed in with every PS5 and is in its own right an amazing game that they've supported since launch. And that's still free with your PS5. So if you've got a PS5, it's right there to try out. And to my understanding, a lot of the platform and how tight it is and the utilization of the DualSense is all kind of there between both games. It's definitely a game that's on. This is going to be very, very common thing that comes up during the stream. It's definitely in my backlog of games. I'm catching up. I'm around 2022. I beat Resident Evil 4 and like a Dragon Gaiden. That's kind of where I'm at chronologically with video games. But yeah, when a platformer is good, when 3D platformers hit, like this one does for so many people, there's something special there. It's a great experience, and I hope a sign of things to come for Sony, maybe more of a focus on these kind of experiences versus Lord
100%.
knows
60 people made this game. Yeah, this was delightful, and I hope it's a huge success. Do you have ASTRO BOT on sale right now with PNP?
You know what? Funny story. Yes, $64.99 Canadian dollars. A lot of the prices we're going to be throwing out are Canadian dollars right now. The exchange rate right now for our American friends, though, is really good. It's really cheap to buy things in Canada right now, and you can do so at pnpgamesonline.com. But yes, on sale, 65 Canadian dollars. We also have ASTRO BOT plush as well for 15, which is a great stocking stuffer, of course, or something for your shelf in your office. So yeah,
I think we need to underline that too. PNP Games, you ship all over the world, but it's free shipping in Canada and the US, and it's in Canadian dollars because you guys are based in Winnipeg in Canada. And
yes,
so if there are Americans that are watching this, they can buy games at Canadian prices. Do they have to pay taxes or duty or anything else extra when they ship it across the border, or does it just...
That's a really good question. As of right now, not so much. No, taxes are all, I think, based on province to province and then state to state, kind of locally. There are no duties on things going into the States and customs and stuff. That might, of course, change in the new year.
Yeah.
New guy in charge. But as of right now, no, it's very good. There, of course, are duties and things that apply to shipments going to the EU. So if you have any questions whatsoever, I always recommend hit up webstore at pnpgames.com. Our staff there will kind of let you know based on your address, should you expect to pay any kind of duties or like that, or have things like that happen in the past. Also to note, of course, as we're taping this, the Canada Post strike is going on, and it doesn't seem to be stopping anytime soon. So keep that in mind when placing orders. We are finding alternatives for larger orders to ship them out. Free shipping orders with Canada Post will simply be held at sale price and then shipped to you as soon as we can, expedited if we can. And that situation is changing constantly. So we have a FAQ on the web store. But yeah, generally $65 Canadian or more pre-tax gets you free shipping within Canada, the United States. Pretty zippy. We have a great customer service team, like I said, at webstore at pnpgames.com. So if you have any questions at all about things arriving before Christmas or any issues like that with shipping, please hit them up. And they are waiting to help you.
I don't have a calculator in front of me, and I don't know what the exchange rate is, but somebody smart right now would know what 65 Canadian is in American dinero, and it's got to be one of the best prices on the internet.
Yeah, it's $46.50 US roughly.
$46.50 US to pick up Astro Bot, and there's probably some other things that we're going to talk about. I mean, that's an amazing deal, and you guys are incredible partners. So if you're supporting PNP and PNP Games Online.com, you are supporting EP, because these guys are believers in what we're doing with getting EP Classic to you guys every week. So appreciate the support there, but definitely pay attention to these guys. They are making some serious moves on getting affordable games to everybody and selling cool toys and knickknacks and stickers and all kinds of cool things too.
No joke, we added 300 more items to the sale this morning. So there are now 1,500 items plus on sale, and that's not including anything clearance we have on offer. So hit up pnpgamesonline.com. There's everything. There's crew socks based on video games. There are new video games starting as low as $5 across all kinds of consoles. We have 3DS games. We have PS2 games, PS1 games on sale.
That's right.
And of course, used games to contemporary as well. So if you're looking for something, go in there, search it in the bar. Something's going to come up on sale at this point, or we didn't do our job. So we are still adding items.
I wanted to do the best retro game of 2020, like the best game to play from a different era in 2024, but we have enough. And in fact, we should move on. There are tons of games to get into.
Victor decided he wasn't busy enough this week. He has created a 50+ game reel that he wants to talk. It's nuts. So I'm here I'm just feeling the G's. I'm just gonna ride along.
Let's go. Next one on our list is Metaphor Refantazio. This is absolutely one of the best role-playing games of the year, possibly the game of the year. Well, we shall see. We are on the road to the Rocket and Reagan Awards. I'm still playing through a bunch of stuff, but I did get some good time playing this on stream, and I've talked about this already. It's very weird in the Atlas, kind of way of building games, but it also has some really powerful messaging and cool characters and incredible abilities and gorgeous, just unbelievable production values. You get like an anime movie in the middle of everything with this game, and you are completely infatuated with the characters that are crafted for you and all the customization that you can do and the tactical sort of qualities of the combat, and it is a sumptuous experience. And, Atlas is just, they're so unique, and one thing that I really recognize about this company is that they have a love for 2D gameplay and 2D design. So even though this is a 3D experience, like the aesthetics and all of the iconography and the imagery that takes you from one sequence to another, all of the transitional elements, they're just like the high watermark in terms of production, and you don't even recognize that that's what's being served up to you. Like the character models and all of the 3D material is incredible, but because there's such a beautiful emphasis on accentuating everything with 2D art, whether it's these anime cut sequences or the 2D elements between these 3D pieces, it makes it a lower barrier to entry type of software title, so it runs on other platforms. So this is also, I think, available for Xbox One and PlayStation 4. And I put icons for each of the different sort of verticals, but I didn't specify which of the different platforms. So some of these games will run on PS4 and Xbox One. And I think this is one of them. This is one of those cross-gen titles that is going to look incredible on everything, and presumably it'll be out on Switch at some point in a later date. But don't miss Metaphor Refantazio. Amazing game.
Yeah, and it's on sale.
Yeah,
it's on sale right now for the PS5 and the Xbox Series X. $64.99, just like Astro Bot was. So around $46.50 US. I do have to ask though, did you play Persona 3?
I played it. This is the remake of Persona 3, right? So I have played it, but I haven't gone back to check it out again. And I have to be honest, like, these games are insane and gorgeous, but I am not like the super fan that knows all of the intricacies, and it's sometimes like some of the story elements just go over my head. But Metaphor, because it's kind of the first one in their new idea, even though there's, elements that sort of evoke some of the Persona stuff, you can see that lineage. I felt a little bit more invested, like I'm starting this sort of running, but I felt like, okay, this is like a fresh thing for me to jump into in the Atlus world. But the Persona games are, yes, they're truly incredible.
I think it succeeds on that. I think it's like as a reset where it's just like, it's not, Persona also shed kind of the Shin Megami Tensei moniker at some point.
Yeah.
But yeah, to have three separate series now, we have Persona, we have Metaphor, and we have Shin Megami Tensei, which also might get a follow-up at some point.
They're all killing it.
Yeah, and they're somewhat derivative of each other, but the fact that they're coming out with such a heavy clip where one like Persona 3 Reload can get kind of overlooked. Like, it came out on Game Pass. It is on sale right now for PS4 and PS5 for only $34.99 Canadian, which is around $25 American. You can grab Persona 3, or like I said, it's on Game Pass, and try that out because it's at the same level as any of their titles are. It's not like they phoned it in on a remake or anything like that. It just got so overshadowed, maybe because of the value of it, maybe because they're releasing it at full price and Game Pass at the same time. I have absolutely seen that gut sales from games, and then here the game doesn't perform well overall. Right. I don't think that's the case here, but Metaphor was definitely their focus.
Well, there's a cadence issue in games too. So. There's a cadence issue as well, right? Like, Metaphor took a lot of oxygen out of the room, right? And everybody was hyped on this new thing. And I think a lot of that Atlus crowd is probably waiting for a game like Metaphor, and it doesn't disappoint. I definitely am going to jump back into Persona 3 Reloaded, though. Sure. I've heard nothing but incredible things. But speaking of massive role-playing games, we have another one for you. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. Now, this game doesn't make sense to buy for someone or for yourself if you haven't played Remake. And you kind of have to go through Remake to then make Rebirth worth it. But Rebirth is like an Empire Strikes Back to a Star Wars. Like, it's just so much bigger. It's so much more expansive. It's bolder. The storyline is maybe a little less sort of focused, I think, than Remake is. I think Remake has like a very sort of start A to get to Z kind of storyline. And Rebirth, you're living in the world a little bit, but there's a lot of setup, and there's a lot. We know there's more Final Fantasy VII games to come based on what they're doing here. But this is an incredible game. It is so much fun to play. The combat is unbelievable. The exploration is my favorite part of the game. And yes, you can ride Chocobo with your buddies. And it looks much better on the PlayStation 5 Pro. But you're into some heavy investments if you're looking at something like that. Looks fine. I didn't really mind the slightly blurry quality of the 60 frames per second mode for the base Final Fantasy VII Rebirth when I played it. I don't know if they've enhanced it or tweaked it since then either, but this is not a game not to be missed. It is absolutely one of the best of 2024.
This is a game that it's on the top of the heap of the play pile. I've played Remake. I played the DLC for Remake. I thought, in spite of itself and what it does with the narrative of Final Fantasy VII, it's a 10 out of 10, right? So Rebirth in the office, the common thing is it's probably my game of the year, but man, did I hate that ending is what I keep hearing about this game. Yeah. And that's kind of how I felt about the first one too, is just like, it never needed to be more than just a retelling of the story. If you want to change some things, that's great. But the ways in which they're going about that,
contentious.
I don't know. It's abrasive. It's Kingdom Heartsy, and I'm gonna use that as a derogatory term here. But I'm looking at the corner of my eye here because I've been media blackout on this game. It's a game I know I'm already gonna play. So what I'm seeing of it here, just like it looks amazing, and the ways it is like Final Fantasy blew the people in the office away about it. So it's definitely something I'm getting down to pretty soon. I'm very curious about that ending and because what they tease at the end of Remake is just like, well, please don't. But I guess you gotta change it. I don't know what's gonna happen in 100 years when people talk about Final Fantasy VII. In the same way, what are they gonna say when they talk about Star Wars or Lord of the Rings? What is the frame of reference? Is it gonna be that PS1 classic masterpiece, or is it gonna be the upgraded?
I think this is a much bigger title now at this point. I mean, 7 on PS1 was huge, and it's tilted us towards this, but these games are like industries at this point. All right, well, next on the list for PlayStation 5 games, but you can also play this on PC through Steam and probably other stores as well. I just use Steam as the default PC icon. But Silent Hill 2... Bloober Team really knocked us on our butt, like surprised us. There was a lot of skepticism. This is a terrifying game. The vibe and the mood is so freaky. Like I streamed it, I was terrified, ran into Triangle Head or Pyramid Head there, and it's unnerving, you know. And I think it does a way better job even than the original does because of its visual fidelity upgrade. I think there was a lot of work that we had to do with our imagination when we played the first Silent Hill 2. Those were good games, but this is another level, just like the Resident Evil remakes are another level. You're not fighting controls, you're not fighting with invisible walls and things. There's a not only this baseline visual fidelity improvement, but it just makes logical sense a little bit more. It's tethered to the sort of current state of video game reality, but also what we see in the real world. And so it's easy to project ourselves into this nightmare fuel. And God, it's just fun to play.
That's great to hear. Yeah, so like Silent Hill, it's for how many entries it's had in the common era that are, in the conversation of a game of the year type game.
Yep.
It's has staying power. Those fans of those original games have really strong opinions on what's a good Silent Hill and what's not. I'm not going to dig too much into it from there, but to the point where Bloober Team was getting kind of heat based on some other ways they kind of went about making their previous games and how they built. It's a whole nother conversation, but they delivered, and at the end of the day, you make the thing good. And we have to give it up on some level. This game is on sale for $59.99 Canadian dollars. On the PS5 right now. We have to have another conversation sometime. You think that you feel that games being more realistic make them more scary, whereas I always feel you put me in front of a PS1 game, that's when I gotta wear the brown pants, because using my imagination for a texture map always to me like freaked me out more. Maybe it's just
I got a game for you. I got a game for you. That's all about that. Yeah. All right, let's move on to one of my favorites of the year, Black Myth Wukong. I've always thought this game looked incredible. I also thought when I was on the lead up to it that it looked too good to be true, and I think in some ways it is. I know that there is a repetition to it, and it's really about the boss rushes. It's really about getting into these fights with these incredibly well-crafted, beautiful bosses at its core as a game. But what really ties it together for me is that it's so foreign. I know it's based on Chinese folklore and mythology, and some of these creations may be familiar to some people. I don't know what the hell I'm looking at half the time in this game. Bears are on fire. The first boss that you come into is this giant-headed beast that comes and headbutts you and just kicks your ass. And some of the fights just go on and on and on for me, because I'm not great at this thing. Like the parrying and the timing are still what I have to kind of deal with. And I did wish for some, other tweaked mechanics and abilities for my character, because it felt like some of the characters that I fought had everything at their disposal, and you pick up some magic powers and stuff like that. But I just loved the aesthetics. I loved this deep dive into this world building, this myth building that I mean, it was evocative of like seeing Star Wars for the first time. It was like, holy crap, this is incredible. And I loved being this monkey human, you know, just the mobility of this character. And you can actually feel the difference of him just running through the forest with the way that his feet are wider than, you know, most of the Demon Souls and Dark Souls type characters that I play. You know, he's just there's a different physicality to it. And then there's all of these other sort of branching, mythological, interesting sort of paths that you can take and become other creatures, and you're just seeing these mesmerizing pieces all the way along. I adore this game. I think it's really, really special. Wow. Did you have time to play this one?
I did not. So it's currently digital only. There is a physical edition coming out very soon, December 12th. They rushed this thing out for the end of the year and perhaps the Game Awards, I guess. But it's going to be $84.99 full price Canadian. You can ship that free from PNPGamesOnline.com. I did not play Black Myth. Love character action games.
Yes.
And really like the look of this game. I love any game that takes folklore. I mean, Elden Ring was a very recent one that kind of did a lot of that too, taking little bits of folklore and just sticking them in the game universe and then seeing how it all kind of works together.
It's very mysterious.
It makes a vibe. I really much enjoy it. And this one looks like, you know, say what you want about games that are like From Software games. At least when they nail that kind of aesthetic thing, I'm in for that at very least, and that goes to games like Neo and stuff like that who have come out as well. So I'm not great at those games, and I'm pretty upfront about that. But this one is a little bit easier than some of the FromSoft stuff. It's a little bit easier than Neo. Those Neo games are really hard, and I don't know, like if you spend the time to build worlds like this and characters like this, they just keep pulling you back in. It definitely deserves to be on a lot of the best of lists that it's on. But let's move on. It is a big month ahead for the Blue Blur, and I think Sonic Cross Shadow Generations was a delight. I really enjoyed this game. I thought that it was going to feel a little bit slight in terms of modern stuff. It's certainly not an Astro Bot in terms of like giving you sort of free-form abilities and all kinds of stuff, but there is quite a bit of diversity in the experience in this game, and the Shadow missions and the Shadow mini game. It's more like Bowser's Fury from 3D Super Mario, the 3D Super Mario Land or Super Mario Land 3D. I can't remember what that's called, but Super Mario 3D World or something.
It was a really fulfilling detour, and it felt different. Shadow's got a different vibe, but God, this thing runs like stink on modern machines. It's just beautiful.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's great. Like I mean, stink in a good way.
Okay.
It's so fast. It's just really, really
I've ever
fun
heard that
to play.
expression before. Yeah,
I don't. I might have just made that expression. I'm not sure if that actually is an expression.
Going back to the 90s where bad is good. So like I played the original, and like when it came out, it was during a time where Sonic was having some hard times.
Yes.
But Generations, not only does it bring back kind of 2D gameplay and the 3D platforming, it separates Sonic himself.
Yeah.
Two separate characters. So if you're an old boomer like me, you have your little chubby Sonic with the attitude. He now doesn't talk, but that's okay. And then the lanky, kind of more anime Sonic is his own thing. So I was all on board with this. That original game was really good. The soundtrack's really good, and the mashups they do with the different levels was cool. This is straight up sitting in my PS5 right now, waiting to be played. So I have not dug in. Shadow, he's all right. Like The Edge, I don't know, man. I think that movie's gonna blow up crazy because like there is the kids love The Edge. They love the self-serious, and Keanu Reeves doing the voice. Like that movie's gonna make $2 billion. But I digress.
I can't wait to see it. I love those movies.
In terms of 3D Sonic games, play this one over Frontiers, in my opinion.
You're not a fan of Frontiers. Frontiers got...
I was just not... I had a lot of very specific issues with Frontiers.
Did you stay with it, though?
How it handled... No. I'll tell you exactly why really quickly. Yeah. I encountered a boss.
Yeah.
And it was completely just hauling ass in the other direction, right? So I'm like, well, I don't want to do this boss right now, and he's left. So I'm going to do a bunch of other stuff. I collected a bunch of stuff, and after 40 minutes, it told me the boss got away and loaded my last save and negated all my save data of what I had done for that 40 minutes.
Oh, no.
And so I kept playing, and it happened to me again with another mission, and I'm like, I'm out. The idea of an open world Sonic game where you get faster and faster and just traverse Sure, sounds good to me. But man,
I guess
I
stayed on the path and I went from boss to boss. I didn't do I'm going to leave the boss alone and just explore for a while and then come back to the boss and lose all that stuff. That would drive me crazy. Yeah. I ended up loving Frontiers.
Highly specific to me, but yeah, I'm glad to hear.
Yeah, and I mean, I obsessed over it, finished it, and was just like, oh my god! Like,
oh, really?
Yeah, it was really, really fun, and it was a turnoff at first. I just thought it was a very weird digression for them to have like emo Sonic, but God, I ended up loving that game. And
they can do whatever they want with that tall Sonic after they split him in generations. That's what I was trying to say. That's fine. Tall Sonic can be emo. He can be sad. You can do whatever you want with him because you got my little chubby Sonic separated now.
Well, I ended up loving Frontiers, but this is a delight. This Sonic Cross Shadow Generations. I think it's fun for any Sonic fan out there. And what are you guys selling that for right now?
For sure. So Sonic X Shadow Generations is going to be $44.99 Canadian dollars, and if you're looking for Victor Lucas's favorite Sonic game, Sonic Frontiers, it's $24.99. Only $24.99. That's $18 US
it's
on
a great
PS4,
game.
PS5, and Xbox. And then Switch is going to be $29.99. A little Switch tax on that one. So
yeah,
there's more though. There's Sonic Origins. There's Sonic Superstars also came out, which is also a pretty good game. I didn't mind. Those are also on sale as well. So you can just search up Sonic and on sale on PNPGamesOnline.com, and he's going to pop up real fast, as is his MO. Yeah,
it's a good month to be a Sonic fan right now, which is great.
Oh yeah.
Okay, let's move on to Stellar Blade. This is an absolutely gorgeous game. What's the company? They're out of Korea, I think. Shift or something like that. I forget the name of the developer.
That sounds correct. Yeah,
but
their logos on the front.
they nailed it. I mean, aesthetically, it's really hard to fault this game. I had some issues with the storytelling. I wasn't really invested with the story, but I love the look, and it's very much pulling from lots of dystopian end of the world types of movies and video game experiences and stuff. And the character designs are great, and one of the things that I really admire about this game, of course, it's an action fest. The hacking and slashing is a lot of fun. There's great boss fights and stuff, but they have a really unique take on the way that music is threaded through this. You're basically being sung to through the whole game. There's I don't know if it's K-pop or whatever, but there's just this very emotionally charged music all the way along as you're playing and getting into all kinds of combat situations and stuff. And it is a transportive experience. And it's also, I've been playing a lot on the PS5 Pro, and this looks amazing on the PlayStation 5 Pro. It's really shiny. It's really clean. If you're an action hack and slasher, or you are buying for an action hack and slasher fan out there, I think they're going to love Stellar Blade. And I think I'm happy that it's a success as well. It's brand new IP for PlayStation. I think it was the first. I think the company that made this had done some mobile stuff before, so this was a pretty big investment and a big leap in a new direction. And just look at the incredible design in this. I just wish that some of the narrative and some of the storytelling was just a little. It hit you with that same punch that the visuals do. But it's very
I only
fun.
played the demo for this one, but to me, this and like Space Marine 2, which is going to come up in a little bit, are kind of almost throwbacks to like how a video game can be made simply, and then you use the modern, minutia of video game development to kind of up the fidelity, make everything look really good, make it run really good, and make it seem like a modern PS5 Pro video game.
Yeah,
I think there's a few games that came out this year that really just like, nope, the core concept is fun. Now let's put it together. Let's release a dang video game. And I think more of these would benefit from existing in just some good single player action games. And it's also on sale for $64.99.
Very nice. Is there a collector's edition or anything special around this one that you guys might have?
So there isn't. I don't know if they ever did like a special exclusive collector's edition or anything. Otherwise, just a standard edition exists for $64.99 currently. So that's it.
Okay.
That's it. Maybe in the now that it's popular next time around, who knows? Who knows what we get? Maybe it gets the Horizon treatment where we get a statue and all that kind of stuff. So yeah,
more is coming, which is really cool. All right, we're moving on to Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, which I know is a little bit of a contentious one, but I think Sony did the right thing with, I think it's like a $10 upgrade if you already own the game or something like that, so it's not the full price to buy it again. And I know it's recent. I know arguably it didn't really need this remaster, but I'll tell you what, I played it on the PS5 Pro, and I got sucked in. I was streaming it. I had planned to play a bunch, play this for a bit and then play Forbidden West and play a little bit of the Lego Horizon, some more of that. I couldn't stop playing this. Like, I just got sucked into Aloy's origin and, and her relationship with Rost and some of the other characters that she starts to kind of ingratiate herself to and sort of show how much, ability and value and strength she has as a character in this world. And I was like, wow, man. And it looks insane. They did a great job with the up conversion and all of the the extra sort of visual widgets and things like that they can add to a game like this. It's also out on the PC right now, so it's not just the core Zero Dawn, which has been on PC for a little bit. They've actually upgraded on the PC and PlayStation 5, and there are PS5 Pro enhancements, and it's a stunning game. And so this is, I think, for those folks that are just starting to enter into the PlayStation world. They don't really... The one thing about this game is that it came out at the same time as Breath of the Wild did, and so it got kind of slammed around by that. And I think that the Horizon games have this continuous thing of they're incredibly well-made games, but they... come out at the wrong time. I think Elden Ring was out when the last Horizon
exactly
game.
Right. Yeah. They're incredible. So like Forbidden West, which is the sequel to this game, it was like one of the last games we kind of dug in on the PS4 Pro.
Yeah.
And the engine, they're wizards, because the PS4 Pro version of Forbidden West is already incredible, and then you bump it up to a PS5, and I can only imagine. So that game is on sale for $24.99 on the PS4 or $39.99 on the PS5. However, Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, not yet seeing a sale price. So still full price, but it is, I believe, only $64.99 brand new, if I'm not mistaken. I can double check myself.
For Zero Dawn?
For Remastered, yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to double check. Yeah.
All
if
right.
I'm wrong during this, we'll give away money if I'm wrong at any point during this. No, $64.99 is Remastered's price, brand new.
Cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think this is a game for a PlayStation fan or a PC fan that likes action adventures and open world, character-rich games like this. So it's a role-playing experience as well, that they just want to get lost in. And I think that they're going to dig it. And, obviously you start with Zero Dawn before you get into Forbidden West. And I actually like the story of Zero Dawn better than Forbidden West, but I love
Forbidden West goes some places. Yeah,
it does. The Burning Shores DLC for Forbidden West is something else, man. Like the whole journey, the DLC for Zero Dawn is wonderful as well. Great couple of games. I don't know how it continues. I don't know what Guerrilla's got planned, but they killed it with these two titles. All right, let's move on to a fighting game for PlayStation, but it's also out there for Xbox and PC. It's Tekken 8. This came out at the beginning of the year, and it's an Unreal Engine fighter, and they did a wonderful job with this title. Lots of quirky characters, lots of insane, over-the-top story moments, lots of other embellishments. I think they were certainly looking over their shoulder at all of the weird and wild places that Street Fighter 6 went and said, okay, we have to get into that space as well, so you can journey around and go from arcade to arcade in this sort of big head mode, which is kind of cutesy. It's sort of antithetical to how serious the sort of Tekken 8 stuff is. But what I love about the Tekken games is that they're never afraid to kind of have some laughs with it. You'll be fighting a panda bear or a kangaroo or some other weird inventions. And the combat,
you can do the custom character stuff, right?
Yeah, and the custom character stuff's incredible, and the combat is furious and fun as hell and addictive, and you can be incredibly proficient and flexible with the way that you put your combos and stuff together. And there's just so many characters that they offer right from the get-go, and then of course they embellish with all kinds of new characters. It's interesting to see how fighting games, I think, have done a pretty good job pivoting to the DLC world that we all live in now. I think that there is this almost like a living action figure vibe to picking up new characters as you go, and you see somebody that gets added to the roster, and you go, oh, I want that. Mortal Kombat does a great job with that as well. You know, all kinds of famous pop culture characters and stuff they throw in. But yeah, they've got these quirky big head modes and stuff like that, and all kinds of ways to show off your creativity, both as a fighter but as a character creator as well. I love Tekken 8. Wonderful game.
Awesome. I straight up have not played Tekken 8 yet. Big fan of 7, though, and of course a big fan of Namco Bandai's other fighter, Soul Calibur.
That's my series, man. I love Soul Calibur. Yeah. I want it to come back.
The best.
I know. I freaking love that game. All right, let's go on to a sports title. This is the first sports title. I did throw in sports games, and this one is a PlayStation-made sports game. I'm still playing the sports titles to kind of figure out which one is my favorite. I think they're all good. I'm just going to say that. I think all of these teams do a really good job at making something in a very truncated amount of time, and it's going to be interesting to see how AI development for sports titles, where they're trying to emulate and recreate the real life as quickly as possible, I can feel like that's going to be a big part of the future for commentary, for creating fans and stuff that look more realistic and stuff. That all being said, I feel like all of these sports teams crank, and within 6 months they of course have to use assets, and of course have to use sort of design elements that they've been using all the way along, but they still always add little bits and pieces of new content and new data, and so you get new commentary, and sometimes they're adding different leagues and different teams, and I love the Negro Leagues sort of history stuff that you get in the MLB experience. The last couple of years have been just awesome. And the game looks great. Looks great on PlayStation. Of course, it's a big Game Pass title if you're an Xbox fan. It even looks pretty good on Switch as well. And it plays great. I mean, these guys don't sort of slough off. They get the opportunity. They have a responsibility to build something really fun. And I think the Sony San Diego team always does with the MLB games. Having said that, I'm a video game reviewer, less of a minutia-focused sports fan. Like, I love hoops, and if I had the time, I'd watch more basketball and get to know everything. But I don't have time to know all the stats and know all the histories and come at it with all kinds of expectations based on my real-life love for any of these sports. So I play them as video games, and honestly, almost every year, I'm like, wow, this was really fun to play. And it's harder and harder for me to choose which of these sports titles is the one that I think is the most fun or the most value-packed. But MLB 24 is really cool. It should be out on PC. I don't know why they don't also just bring it out for the PC. This would be a great Steam Deck game.
Yeah, at this point, right? Like, if it's on Xbox, just slide on over there. So the PS5 version of the game is on sale for $29.99.
Yep.
And we should also mention the PS5 version of Tekken 8 is on sale for $39.99 as well. Oh, wow. So
that's a sweet deal. That's awesome.
But they're all on, most of these are on sale. It's wild.
It's great. Well, that's what this was about. Yeah. I was like, okay, well, I'm making a list of great game ideas if you want to go shopping for it. And I was thinking, where should I shoot this? And I thought, you know what? I think I should just see if Lee wants to do this, because you guys are offering all of these games. You could create a direct link to the thing, and you're saving our viewers some money, and you guys are supporting EP, which is amazing. All right, let's move on to a game that is that speaks to Lee Skwarek. This is Fear the Spotlight. I don't know if you know this title, but it is basically a brand new PS1 game that Blumhouse has built. With indie developers. I think they're Cozy Game Studios, Cozy Games or something. I met them. They're wonderful people. I think they're a husband and wife team that put this together, and it's very much a brand new PlayStation 1 vibe, but with modern controls and modern sort of quality of life sort of amenities as you play this thing. And so it feels great, even though it looks like it won't. Like you're not struggling with tank controls when you're playing this thing. It just feels great, and it looks really cool, and it is spooky. It's also cute, like it's just it hits on a bunch of different levels, and I think it's a really clever thing, because this Blumhouse Games coming out of the gate making titles that aren't breaking the bank, they're not going, let's risk it all, and then they got to close studios down. They're saying, okay, let's work with really smart, clever, smaller scale developers that are building interesting things, and let's bring those out. And that's kind of how they make their movies as well, right? So it's a good fit.
These kind of games always do it for me. There was a game that I think was mostly released for free. I think it's on Steam as well, called Blood Wash. There was most recently, I think it was Crow County came out. It also kind of had this aesthetic all day long. You can keep releasing games like this, and I'll get to them eventually. Thank you. But no, this is great. If they're able to take so many different concepts and kind of, you know, I don't know how all those horror games are kind of popular streaming games, right? Like something like Blood Wash, even if you don't enjoy that older style of graphic or style, they're still fun to watch. It's still fun to watch someone react to. So I think this kind of stuff has some staying power. They don't all have to be Silent Hill 2. This looks awesome. This game.
Honestly, when I played this game, it really hit me that Sony has an opportunity to go back into their catalog and just refresh their PlayStation 1 games with modern controls. You know, and just have it rebranded where it's not like it's like a sort of a remaster, but not without, it's not a remake, you know, like just go back, clean it up, make it run on 4K displays, and just make the controls a little bit tighter. And when I played this, it was like, wow, okay, you absolutely, here's the proof in the pudding. All right, let's move on to our next indie title. So I've got indie games as well as the bigger AAA stuff. This one's called Rogue Flight, and it's made by a company called, it's not Twisted Pixel, I think it's Truant Pixel? Oh my gosh, I forgot the name. I've got so many.
I can look that up for you.
So many things in my head right now. But
you're right. Truant Pixel.
Truant Pixel. Yes, they made an amazing VR game called Runner, which had this similar kind of retro anime aesthetic, and this one also carries that kind of look to it, but it's a totally different type of an experience, and it's not VR. You can play it on basically everything right now. It's very much a throwback to Rails, on the Rails 3D shooters and games like Star Fox. It's super fast action. There's a lot of strategy in terms of collecting the power-ups and then using your attacks to kind of build up your combo meter, and you're getting all kinds of rewards. And then embedded throughout it is some really interesting stuff with the characters that they drop into it, some really cool anime story bits and stuff, but you're also feeling everything. And I played this on the PlayStation 5, so you're hearing stuff through the DualSense controller. Crew members are yelling at you as you're getting into all these battles and stuff, and you're feeling it all. The haptics are great as well. There's some PS5 Pro enhancements on this title too, which I haven't really been able to spot. That's been one of my things with the PS5 Pro. It's like, what am I looking for? I just, and there's nothing pointed out in the menu, which drives me nuts. But it's
you need like a Mark Cerny director's commentary mode where you just flick it on in the options, and then he just whispers in your ear and tells you what's different. Look at that bush over there.
Well,
that bush couldn't exist.
Totally. Well, this is a really fun game, and if you're hankering for some of that old school Star Fox type of gameplay, that is definitely one for you to check out. All right, so let's talk about LORELEI and the Laser Eyes. This game is from Annapurna, who is they're a company in the gaming space that has delivered some really, really cool titles over the years. One of the ones that they did that I loved was the Sayonara Wild Hearts, which is from, I think, Simogo, and they're the company that made this game. So they went from Sayonara Wild Hearts to this title, and this is also evocative of that sort of Resident Evil adventure style of experience. So the controls are a little bit clunky, but you're infiltrating this mansion. You've been invited, and you are trying to figure out what is going on. There's all of these different puzzles to solve, and it gets a little bit twisted, and the puzzles are, there's a complexity to them. And when they sent me the review code, they actually sent me a little notebook so I could take notes, and write down some ideas. And I actually, when I streamed this, I played this on the Nintendo Switch earlier this year, I was getting a lot of help from the people that were watching the thing, because there's a lot to kind of uncover here. So there's yeah, it's really cool. It's, there's some visual sort of manipulation to kind of put posters and things like that together that give you clues. There's all of these weird twisted things that, like these psychosis type elements in there. There's reading through tons and tons of books to kind of put together the word clues that are throughout this. And I love the aesthetics too. Like, it's a very muted design. Like, they've really just kept it to mostly a black and white kind of vibe with some little flashes of red and stuff. And I haven't finished it. I am going to go back to it soon, but it is an inviting and intriguing and special and unique indie title that has come out this year.
Yeah, game looks great. This looks like something my wife would like.
Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah.
Just get her a notepad if you pick it up for her.
For sure. Oh, yeah. She's the type that will write down things and puzzles and stuff like that. So that's all set as far as that's concerned.
We're going to take a little break right now. We have a lot more to get into with our EP Holiday Gift Guide for 2024 brought to you by PNP Games. And in fact, here's a little spot from PNP right now.
Again? Hi, I'm Paul. Friends call me Paulie B. And I've been Lord D's maintenance guy for the past 2.5 years. Yeah, got another call about the washing machine today. You never believe the stuff I pull out of there. Health power-ups in the pockets again. I'm telling you, I'm finding things like this constantly. I keep telling him, it's gonna block up your whole system, back the whole thing up. And the blood, it's been every day with the blood.
We are back, and we are moving on to Nintendo titles that you should be checking out for gifts or for purchases for yourself.
While you do that, hey, listen, if you're going to be shopping on PNPGamesOnline.com, you're going to use coupon code PNPGiftGuide10. That's going to give you, and the first 20 customers, in fact, $10 off Canadian, their purchase of $150 or more. So if you're heading over there to do some shopping anyway, take another $10 off on me if you're ordering 150 or more. That's PNP Gift Guide 10. Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. I'm holding it in my hand.
Honestly, this was the most fun I had with the Nintendo Switch this year. I could not believe it's just so fun. It's so funny. It's so clever. The mechanics and the abilities that you have, Nintendo crushed it when they came up with this game for the GameCube. And it's interesting, like last year, I found Metroid Prime Remastered to be just an incredible escape. And what a gift it was, the way that Nintendo delivered that. And I kind of felt the same here with Paper Mario. And you know, and I'm aware that if you played the original, or if you have a working GameCube and you still have it, it's still great on the GameCube, you know, but it's, I don't know, it was really special to be on planes and just getting lost in this incredibly sumptuous art. And, you know, I know there were some issues with the 30 frames per second and all that. I never thought about it. I just was like, oh my God, I love this story. I love these different lands that we go to. These characters are crazy. The, you know, Mario converting himself into a paper airplane, these awesome bosses, the audience freaking out when you're doing well with the fights and stuff. It's just so clever. It was unbelievable. They did a really, really good job with this.
I like when somebody in the audience gets like uppity and they're gonna like throw a brick at Mario, and you have to like, push a special button to go slap them, like escort them out of the theater. No, this is great. So we've gotten a just embarrassment of Mario RPG titles on the Switch. We got Super Mario RPG Remake, which who the heck ever thought that was going to happen? We got this. We of course now have Mario and Luigi Brothership, which I'm sure we're about to talk about. But this is the king, man. This is in terms of writing, in terms of getting Mario and kind of getting that fish out of water, and like the humor they derive from that is something I can't, you know, we can all sit here and we can come up with some jokes. When it has to do with using beloved characters or using things like the Toads and the Goombas to tell jokes like this, it's very special, and it's most special in Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door. So check it out. I hope they bring the other title over here, like bring Super Paper Mario over, you know, do a new game in the Paper Mario series. What a concept. Could be awesome.
Well, let's get into Brothership right here, which I think sort of underlines that you can do new versions of these classic experiences, and they just slot right in. They just feel like they should be there, you know? And I didn't expect it. When I saw the first imagery for this, I thought for sure this was another remake. I didn't expect this to be a whole brand new Mario and Luigi game. And I don't think it's quite as satisfying and fulfilling as Paper Mario is. But which speaks to this sort of embarrassment of riches right now, because we do have a lot of things to compare it to. I even like the last the Paper Mario game, the Color Splash game, I think it was called, on the Switch. That was terrific as well. This game, I think, though, the more that I've been playing it, the more that I've been thinking about it, I feel like this is going to be one of those titles that people will regret missing out on, and it will also be one of those games where people pick it up 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and they'll say, what the hell was everybody talking about? This is so freaking fun. There's so much clever invention in this game. There's so many cool abilities that you get. Every fight is fun. And yes, there's a grind to it, like every RPG, but the timing and the silly, crazy, over-the-top animations that you get into with these fights and like all these bosses and stuff that you get into, like I just had so much fun just in the play of it. And then I thought aesthetically it's one of the coolest looking games for the Switch. I think it just is a really, really huge success. Super fun game.
So Color Splash was the Wii U title, and then Origami King was the Switch original title. Yeah, so they have been making Paper Mario games, but there's like a kind of a gimmick aspect, and I know I think it was Sticker Star for the 3DS was notorious for that. That was a game where you didn't want to get into random encounters because you actually left yourself high and dry from boss fights, because every action you took was like an expendable sticker, like an item.
Yeah.
So you just bring it back to what Thousand Year Door is, man. It just needs to be an RPG. Just get that writing.
Yes.
Just get it. Just yeah.
Yeah. And you know, admittedly, Mario and Luigi Brothership doesn't have that level of writing, but it does have cool characters, and it does have lots of great side diversions and quests and things. And a complaint that I said in my review is that I wish that there was more customization with the characters, a little bit more, because it has a Diablo-esque kind of hook where you're finding new loot all the time, but they don't show it, you know. But I do like the Luigi logic where Luigi kind of goes out and figures some stuff out on his own. And yeah, I thought it was a really, really fun experience. Not at the Paper Mario level, so get that one first if you haven't played that one. But Mario Luigi Brothership is great. I don't think you should miss it, and I think you're going to regret it if you do. And let's move on to another. Oh, is it on sale?
So no, neither of those games, Paper Mario Thousand Year Door and Brothership, both not on sale. $79.99 Canadian, which is regular price. However, if you go on our web store and you buy Brothership, we're throwing in a mystery blind box Super Mario pin with Brothership. I was going to say my favorite recurring joke in Thousand Year Door is that Luigi is seemingly on his own adventure, like doing his own thing. When Mario checks in with him, Luigi's just like, oh man, I gotta tell you about this crap I'm dealing with. It's one of the best jokes in that game. But anyway, I digress.
And he always says, do you want to hear it? It's long. Do you want to? It's great.
It's up to you, man. And then you're like, lay it on me. And then Mario's like falling asleep while he's telling the story.
I love that
stuff.
I love it.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk about another nice surprise for 2024. Legend of Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. The fact that we get to finally play as Zelda in kind of a core baseline Zelda experience. Really, really clever, really fun, very Minecraft-y in the way that it's designed. I found it a little unwieldy and overwhelming how many things she fits in her pocket by the end of the game. But I love the look of this game. I love the top-down. I also did feel, though, that it was nice that it was a kind of a smaller scale, more sort of hemmed in Zelda experience, but you couldn't help but feel that it was a smaller scale game. It felt slighter, but still really fun and still loaded with lots of really clever elements. And I know that you and your wife played this one.
Sure.
What did you guys think?
Yeah, so like beyond it being a game where you play as Zelda, what's really neat about it is it's kind of bringing in the Breath of the Wild open puzzle-solving mechanics into the top-down Zelda universe, right? So before in all top-down Zeldas, there was some flexibility with how you did some puzzles. If you have to strike a switch, how you strike that switch is up to you. But in this game, just like Breath of the Wild, when you're approaching everything, you always feel like, oh, I have my collection of items that I like to use by default to solve almost everything in the game. And I always feel so smart, like I'm getting one over on the game, which is something that Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom also have. Where no, it's all intended. At any given point, Nintendo is watching and they're like, no, we thought of that, but the fact that you think you're coming to this you've somehow bamboozled us is incredible. And as far as it being in a top-down Zelda game, it makes this a very unique experience. And if you are someone who's on the fence about it, or you're like some kind of Zelda purist, there's combat in this game. There is puzzle solving like any Zelda game, but there is something completely unique and new about it that hasn't been seen in a Zelda game before. And they should absolutely flesh this out and do more with it, and get us a game where you do play as Zelda in kind of more of a Breath of the Wild 3D environment, using these same abilities would be really, really cool. Like straight up,
man.
you get a swordsman like form you can take on. You can choose to upgrade that when you're fighting boss fights. Once you kind of figure out the gimmick, you are just allowed with your magic meter to just wail on them in the old style Zelda way. So it's an incredible game. Felt like a breath of fresh air.
Yep.
Really, really enjoyed Echoes of Wisdom. You can get it right now. $79.99 is regular price, but we're throwing in a pair of Link's Awakening crew socks, a 3-pack of socks with that. So you can look that up on the PNPGamesOnline.com.
So always with benefits. I love it. All right, let's move on to Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. This game got its hooks into me. I know people have complained that it's got a little bit of a slower beginning, and it sort of holds your hand as it's giving you some of the abilities of the prince, but I loved it as it got deeper and deeper. There's lots of great, really challenging elements and moments in there. You can also tune the difficulty as you go and also get more of a guided experience if you're starting to feel a little bit lost. It is a bit of a time suck because you're retraversing and you're going back into things. Very Metroid-like. But I'll tell you what, man, this sits with Metroid Dread as the best of these types of games on this platform, and it runs at 60 frames per second on the Switch. It's an excellent fit there. It's sparklier. It looks a little nicer on better hardware, and it's recently come to Steam, so it looks amazing on the Steam Deck and the Ally X. And the PlayStation 5 and Xbox looks great. It's a shame that it didn't get the sales that it deserved. Maybe UB priced this a little bit high when it came out. But the quality is there, and the content is there. Like, it is a really beefy AAA experience, even if you're looking at the game from an aesthetic that's more side-scrolly. I really likened it to Metroid Dread, which is one of my favorite Switch titles, period. And this also is. It's a really, really incredible game. And you feel like such a freaking incredible badass by the end of it, too. You can do so many things. Such a good game.
Lots of vibes of the they did that Strider remake, I think, last gen,
right? Yeah,
which was also that it looks and feels a lot like that. And in terms of a price, Lost Crown right now, PS4, PS5, Switch, and Xbox, $29.99 Canadian gets you a physical version, which is $21.50 US.
That's an amazing gift, Lee. That's an amazing gift. Yes.
It's an incredible gift, Victor.
Yeah, no, seriously, because a lot of people slept on it. Somebody in the comments is talking about that. We have. The one slur says Ubisoft makes something really good and original and people sleeping on it. And it's so sad. And that team is dispersed. They're not going to be making more of this game. They're hopefully working on some other cool things. But this was a great direction for Prince of Persia to go. And yes, I'm waiting for that Sands of Time remake as well, just like people are talking about in the chat.
Yeah.
But the
Beyond Good and Evil 2, anyone?
Yeah, there's lots of other stuff in their library that we'd like to see them do. But this was a very, very artful and tasteful and surprising and wonderful and rewarding Metroidvania, and it really worked with the character and the sort of the world building that they did. And it's a shame that it didn't do well.
Returning to the roots of Prince of Persia as a side-scrolling action game.
Yes, yeah. I got a chance to talk with Jordan Mechner, the creator of Prince of Persia, about this game and how blown away he was by it. And he lives in Montpellier in France, right near where they made the studio, or right where they made the game. And he was just ecstatic, and I would be too if I had any part in something this beautiful. It's a shame, but so because people didn't pick it up, they can pick it up on sale, or you can buy this for somebody that that doesn't have it, and trust me, they will enjoy this game. They just got to stick with it. It's so good. All right, let's move on to Dragon Quest III HD 2D remake from Square. Is so incredible. It's obviously I'm a huge fan of these HD 2D remakes. Who knew? They really just connected. Octopath Traveler 1 and 2, Live Alive is so freaking fun. I love Triangle Strategy. And this is amazing that Square Enix is recognizing the value in this engine and being able to go back into their catalog and bring back games that are beloved but people haven't really seen in a long time. This is an amazing way to reconnect with NES classics like this. And this looks insanely cool. It's beautiful. And it's on everything as well. That's the cool thing about this title. It's one that a lot of people haven't played or haven't gone back to in a long time, so it's going to be new for a lot of folks. but it's available for everything right out of the get-go, and they didn't do that with Octopath Traveler. Remember, it took them a little while for them to kind of get it to other platforms, but I think people are seeing the value with games that look like this, and it runs great on the Switch. I know it can get some frame rate issues. Hopefully Square will fix that, because the other games with this engine and this style have run great on the Switch, but because it's not so state-of-the-art in terms of its visual fidelity, I think it's a great fit on the Nintendo Switch. I also love, like basically you're opening up a book and you're getting back into your adventure. That's where I played Octopath Traveler and Triangle Strategy. It just felt like a great fit, and Live Alive.
The style is incredible, and you'd almost want to see them tackle, if you're going to do Chrono Trigger,
yes,
maybe you do it like this. If you're going to do Final Fantasy VI, maybe you do it like this.
That's the rumor.
But what really matters is we get in front of Square Enix and we remind them that Final Fantasy Tactics exists, because that needs to happen.
That's
Triangle Strategy.
Works.
We gotta hope. But yeah, so this game is not on sale, but it is available on PS5, Switch, and Xbox physically for $79.99 Canadian dollars, ship free from PNPGamesOnline.com. It's been a very good seller, so I hope there's more legs. There's more of these coming. They're incredibly looking like it's a really neat way to play kind of a retro style game without actually having to go back and play on that old hardware. So something I hope they continue with. Yeah,
me too. I love it. And Greg TFO says we need more turn-based RPGs. I want PS1 level proliferation. Yes, and with more Akira Toriyama artwork. I'm all for that too. That sounds amazing. All right, let's move on to our next Nintendo Switch suggestion, and that is Super Mario Party Jamboree. And I'm kind of surprised that it's in there, guys, but it is an amazing game. And I've never been a huge Mario Party fan. I've always thought they were cute and there were some clever ideas and stuff. But this game is terrific, and it really felt like there was a lot of meat for just playing it alone, which I know is not the ideal way to play these Mario Party games, but there's lots of great sort of single-player pieces. The mini games are always fun. They know how to make these mini games. Nintendo's been doing them forever.
Yeah.
But this one is, I think, a little bit more cohesive. I also dug the Joy-Con mini games that they threw into here. I enjoyed flapping my arms and trying to fly around and stuff. And I played online with Adnan, a great friend of EP that lives in LA, and we had a blast. He was taking me through the ropes, and it was just delightful. I played it with my family. They still need some convincing. They're still a little skeptical about because they didn't like the last Mario Party game. But this is one that I want to go back to, and I think that they've done a really, really nice job tying everything together, giving you lots of different tables or maps for you to have these little board games on. And honestly, like if you've got friends or family that want to take this journey with you and play this thing with you, you're going to have a lot of fun with this. Really, really fun.
Awesome. Yeah, no sale on this one, $79.99. I think we might even be temporarily sold out as of recording this, but it has been all the Mario Party games are popular on Switch, and they seem to just getting more popular as they release them. My whole thing is just like I would love to play Mario Party, but I don't really have a dedicated group that would want to sit there and do it. But yeah. We need like a Wario Party that has like Wario mini games in it. I think that's already existed at some point in the past, but not in a true form like this. But
yes,
yeah,
great. I agree. We need more of the Wario Land games as well. We need like a 3D Wario Land game. Yeah, I love Wario. He's a great character.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's talk about another game with a strong emphasis on multiplayer, and that is Super Monkey Ball Banana Rumble, which is exclusive to the Switch still. I don't know if that will be the case forever, because it's a really, really solid game. It runs really well in single player, 60 frames per second. There's been some smoothing through updates and stuff, and one of the cool things that Sega's done is they've added a ton of different customizable characters, and you can like content from the Sega world. You can even race through everything as Sonic, and as people from Grind Radio. And
isn't Kiryu in there too, or something like that?
Yes, yeah, and the Crazy Taxi guys in there, and a whole bunch of stuff. So there's lots to download. The challenges are great in single player. Multiplayer gets manic and insane. There's online play with this as well. It's a really, really packed and stacked Monkey Ball experience. It's great. They've done a really, really nice job with this. Now, I think they probably gave us too many Monkey Ball games in too short a time in the past, so I know that there's probably some people out there with exhaustion, but this is the game that will bring you back and make you feel like you really dig this series again. Really, really fun.
Yeah.
Ninja
Go to the
fan
doctor.
says, seriously, folks, buy Banana Rumble, even as a Switch exclusive. And again, I know why RGG refused to put Yakuza on Switch for a while, and Nagoshi stood by dated talking points about Nintendo's audience. Well, you know, I think Sega came around and saw the value in this audience. This is a great fit on this platform, but I know next year this will be announced for other things as well. I don't know for sure, but I get the sense that they will.
I got some bad news for those listening, though. We just sold out of this title this morning because it is on sale for only $24.99 Canadian dollars.
Oh my God!
Yeah, so we're hopefully going to be restocking before the end of the sale. A lot of people, of course, already have picked it up, but that was the right price for that game because it flew. So yeah, if we can't restock for Black Friday, we'll try again in a month for Boxing Week. But yeah, that was a crazy sale price on this game, and is one of the more popular Monkey Ball games that have come out for the. There's been a few. There's been at least I think 3, right?
Yeah,
maybe. I don't know.
Yeah,
and
like none of them have been as good as this one. This one is terrific. All right, let's move on to another
Sega Racing as well. Yep.
Another Nintendo exclusive. This is Princess Peach Showtime. I was really charmed by this game. I was really taken in. I think it's a wonderful idea that Nintendo is recognizing, that kids want to see themselves in the characters that they're playing, and they have a really robust assortment of different characters. Let them sort of come to life and take the helm and take the stage and be these different types of action heroes that we get to be. And the whole conceit with this game is that it's very theatrical. There's a stage sort of presentation happening as you're jumping into these 2D kind of levels and worlds, but you transform into all of these different costumed characters with new abilities. And there's lots of really interesting ones. I love being the ninja that actually uses a reed to breathe underwater as she's sneaking up on the bad guys and stuff. There's a spy one. There's kind of a superhero character in there as well. There's a cooking mechanic in here. You put on a chef's hat and stuff. You do all these cooking style games in here. I couldn't stop playing this game. It's not very difficult. It's definitely much more sort of family friendly and inclusive. But I have no issues with that. I think it's a real it's really clever. It's really, really well done. Art style is great as well. Not especially huge, and I think that there's some parables or some comparables with the Zelda Echoes of Wisdom title as well, but it's really good. It's a really, really fun, charm-infused experience, and I think it should be in collections. It's really solid, especially if you've got a fan of Princess Peach in your life, and maybe picked up on the Super Mario Brothers movie or something like that. This is the game to pick up for them. This is a really cool thing.
For sure. No sale on this one quite yet. $79.99 is still regular price, but that one will probably be offered sometime very, very soon. Sold pretty well. Was pretty well liked. I think the story of the Switch is going to be all of these Wii U ports they've done, and then all of these kind of not middling, but let's call them B titles for Nintendo. Yep. The Switch is so full of that stuff, and they're all worth playing. It's really nuts to just look up the lineup, and yeah, they're all killers. They've really done something with this Nintendo Switch. I think it's going to catch on.
Well, they've been trying to attract a huge swath of the consumer public out there that is interested in video games on all of their machines, but the Switch, I think, has been the one that's really connected. This idea that you can just put it into your bag and go to somebody's house and show them something, I think has been really, really good for their business, but for the health of the industry as well. I think the Switch has been a great gateway into video games, and it's doing stuff like this, where you look at a game like this and it's not a studio on the precipice of being burned because it didn't hit a quota, there was a smart...
Definitely needs to be.
Yeah. There was a smart level of investment, and they built something special, and they built something cool. Let's talk about Marvel vs. Capcom. There's other parts of the title in there. I just kept it to arcade classics. It's
Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection Arcade Classics.
Yeah, that's too much.
Yeah.
Great fit on the Switch because you're talking about some beautifully emulated experiences, all these arcade games. all collected for the first time on modern hardware. And honestly, I don't know if every one of these games has ever been on a console before. And so it's really wonderful to sort of skip through all of these titles and see their evolution, see what really shocked me looking at all the concept art and stuff that you're looking at, as well as you could just feel the love that the Capcom artists had for these characters and how special it was for them to be able to play with these characters in these sandboxes. And you feel their commitment and their comfort grow as you're going through eras and going from, you know, roster to roster. You see the rosters get bigger and you see the movesets get bigger, and they're challenging themselves and they just feel more confident. You can see it all sort of come together as you're playing through all of this stuff. I also love that they threw the Punisher in there, which is an unbelievably cool game. So violent. Winners don't use drugs. You play his coffee grinder move where he's just like leg sweeping everybody. The Punisher's most famous coffee grinder spinning leg kick move, which he's all known for. It's crazy because you think Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and you're like, the second game, but no, they made X-Men games, they made Marvel superheroes, they made all these other fighters leading up to it, which is why it's a generational game. Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is one of the greatest fighting games that humankind will ever produce. 100%.
And you're going to want to grab a physical copy of this because of that Marvel license, and that it can be, there's already an expiration date on this title, like I can tell you that.
Yes.
So $69.99 is going to get you a PS4 or a Switch copy. That is still the launch version, so it comes with a little comic book, which is awesome.
Wicked.
So yeah, pick that up if you're going to want to be playing this game on the PS5 into the future, because yeah, that Marvel doesn't come cheap or forever at this point. And like Vic said, like that level of art, and like when Marvel vs. Capcom 3 came around and Ultimate, that was all still there. Like the mechanics of the game felt like they were an evolution. All the art done for it, some of which of the artists actually have some drawings in my office here. It was all still there, and then there was Infinite. I mean, we could talk about this forever, but in the meantime, Marvel vs. Capcom Fighting Collection, just an absolute gem of a collection here to get. Make sure you pick it up, because if you got a fighting game fan, they need this. There's no other way to put it.
The ideal would be to have two friends that love fighting games together, and you get it from one of them or both of them, and they get to play this.
Make them fight over it.
Yeah, no, it's so freaking good. And yes, keep them coming, Capcom. I'd like to see a home collection as well, because they made some really cool, quirky Marvel games for the Super Nintendo and stuff as well, and other platforms. Absolutely. I love this. I love these collections, and there's rumors percolating that some of the Activision Marvel stuff might be coming our way in some kind of remastered form, which would be wild. All right, let's move on.
It's going to get dumped on Game Pass one day when no one's expecting it.
Yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. These classic licensed games are so bloody important, because they're not just fun to play, but they represent a moment in time in terms of what the industry was capable of. And I think it was a great honor for a studio to get the ability to make these things. There was always a fight for between studios to see if they could acquire the license, and then a real sort of drag for these companies when the games didn't become successful, because they're so beloved, and Capcom didn't squander the opportunity here. Wonderful, wonderful collection.
Not at all.
Let's move on to EA FC 25. They don't make FIFA games at EA anymore. This is their football club that they've started. And they've added some new modes to this. There's like a rush mode in here, and there's this desire to kind of tap into the sort of faster-paced arcade-type experiences that they've made before. And the fidelity is pretty damn solid. It's not the same game on the Switch visually, but it's in terms of its graphical fidelity that you would get on a PS5 or PC or whatever. But still, the play is pretty damn solid. It's pretty fun. You're taking a frame rate hit as well, so it's not quite as silky smooth. But I do like the fact that EA is investing, at least with this title, on the Switch and bringing it to players. It's fun to be able to play as robust an experience as these FC games are in handheld mode. And I did check this out on a flight to Toronto, and I was like, oh man, this is still really, really fun to play. And again, I'm not a diehard football fan, a soccer fan. I don't know all of the different clubs and players and all the tactics and all of that stuff. I don't follow it every week to week. I don't know who's trading who or what player is working for what team or what any of that stuff. I just play them as video games, and I think that these are really, really fun. And I just took a look at FC 25 on the PlayStation 5 Pro, and it's amazing. I mean, it's just really, for a noob, you know, for somebody that just likes these as video games, it's really fun to just dive into this and see the level of production quality that these companies are capable of with these pieces of software, you know. And I don't think I don't think it's quite the same. It doesn't reach the same fever pitch, no pun intended, on the Switch that it does on the other platforms because it doesn't have the bells and whistles. But it's still fun to play.
For sure. Yeah, so it's on sale. $39.99 Canadian dollars on the Switch, $44.99 on PS4, PS5, and Xbox. And yeah, like when we watch EP Classic, there'll be long features of multiple sports games that are coming out within the same time. Like that used to be a common thing. Like, what hockey game are you playing? And there'd be 6 to choose from. And they all, the one-upsmanship, or like I always felt that between wrestling games and sports games,
totally,
that's where the envelope was being pushed for graphics and motion capture before it was anywhere else. You would look at a soccer game as this is the benchmark of graphics. You look at Triple H's hair in a WWE game, and you're like, that's where we're at. That's the best there is. And it's so interesting that that's still the case. One of the best-selling games on the planet, FC is. Madden, NHL, take a seat. It's FC. That's all it is.
Well, and you can see the money, man.
So,
there's just tons and tons of money. The cut sequences and the goal celebrations, and there's still improvements that could be made, and I think that we're probably going to see sports games really employ the AI art generation in some freaky ways. It's going to be upsetting, I think, a little bit, but it's also going to approximate real life even more, which is going to get weird. It's going to get weird, bro.
Yeah, that like weird like AI 1.0 crowd where they're all just like morphing together and turning into cake and stuff. I'm here for it. That's good stuff. Yeah. The bugs that will come out of stuff like that is going to be crazy. All right, let's move on to some indie titles now. We've got a game called Animal Well, which I don't know if you had a chance to check this out, but holy crap, this is such a cool game made by one person. I did.
Such a moody and cool atmosphere, Metroidvania, but with lots of cool little abilities. Very like you can throw a frisbee and jump on the frisbee, which is just so clever. Lots of really interesting new attacks and new ways to make a game like this.
There's a lot of games like this, but as soon as you boot this one up, something special about it with the traversal and just the mystery of it, I guess I'll call it. Just where you feel like you want to keep playing because you're going to see something you weren't expecting, which not a lot of games can pull off.
It's very minimalist in its design, but it's like there's unbelievable lighting that's applied to each of the pixels and stuff. So there's all of this really beautiful detail in this game. And it's like 100 bytes of information or something. It's such a tiny little, footprint on your SD card or your hard drive or whatever. And it's on all the machines pretty much.
There's also a physical version coming from Limited Run Games that we should see within a couple weeks here. It's going to be $64.99 for the physical. There's a special edition of that as well.
Cool.
But that'll be PS5 and Switch is getting that.
Okay.
So you can own this game physically, all 100 bits of it. Real quick, before we go on to more indie games, I just want to mention really quickly for Nintendo Switch, before we move on from there, we have 30 plus first-party Nintendo games on sale. So while we talked about a bunch of new ones that aren't necessarily on sale, $64.99 right now gets you Canadian dollars, gets you Tears of the Kingdom.
Wow.
And then for $54.99, Animal Crossing, including a pair of socks, so that's just how I roll. Donkey Kong Country Tropical Freeze, Fire Emblem Engage, Kirby and the Forgotten Land, Skyward Sword HD, Luigi's Mansion 3, New Super Mario Bros. U Deluxe, Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury, Super Mario Maker 2, Super Mario Odyssey, Super Mario RPG, Super Mario Bros. Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and Live Live is $54.99 each. Just a huge list of games. And then Pikmin 3 Deluxe, Fire Emblem Warriors, also $49.99 Canadian. For listening to me rattle off all those games, we're going to include a copy of Tears of the Kingdom with our giveaway. If you missed that earlier on, all you got to do is go to an official PNP Games social media, Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever you want to do, put I love EP Classic in a DM, and you'll be entered for all the giveaways. Right now, that consists of either Silent Hill 2 or Metaphor Refantazio for the PS5, or now also including Tears of the Kingdom.
That is
and then, of
awesome.
course, we're giving it away. PNP Gift Guide 10 is a coupon code you can use. The first 10 people, or rather 20 people to use that, are going to get $10 Canadian off their order of 150 or more. Sorry, Vic. Back to you.
That's great, man. No, that's awesome. Yeah. That's what I wanted to do. Like, it's not just you're watching the show that we're putting together, but also you're saving some money if you're picking up some of these games, which is great. All right, we've got another indie title, also for the Switch, but it's playable, as you can see from the icons, for Xbox and Steam, and also on Mac. I think this might be the first of these games that we're talking about that you can play natively on the Mac right now. This is NEVA, I believe is how you pronounce it, from the company that made Gree. People call it Gris as well, and I
call it Grease. Do you call it Gree?
I thought it was Gree, but it might be Greece. I'm not sure how you pronounce it.
I'm gonna have to
ask. They're from Europe.
Spanish.
Spanish. They've got their own vibe with it, and they're into this hand-painted aesthetic. And also, I feel like this is sort of an homage to Studio Ghibli and Miyazaki-san's beautiful kind of take on fantasy, where you befriend this kind of wolf friend with antlers, and you have all kinds of really cool puzzles to solve, environmental puzzles, and some creatures to combat and fight and survive against. And it's lush, it's beautiful, and it's a perfect fit on Nintendo Switch. Did they make a physical of this too?
Yeah, so there is a physical coming in March. March 14th right now is the date, 2025. PS5 and Switch is getting it. There's going to be a standard edition and a deluxe. Standard's $44.99 Canadian dollars, and then $69.99 Canadian dollars for the deluxe. And of course, ship free on the latter from PNPGamesOnline.com. So check that out. And then in addition to that, their first game, Grease or Gree, or however we want to pronounce it, we did a 2024 reprint. It's a minimalist reprint, meaning we put the least amount of words on the back that you could. Cool. Otherwise, it is a new UPC for 2024, and this is $44.99 right now. You can have a physical copy of their first game as well. And then while we're talking about it, we have other Devolver reprints as well. This is a Devolver published game. Yep. My Friend Pedro, $34.99 Canadian. Carrion, $39.99 Canadian. And then great. Inscription, which got a very limited physical release. There is a reprint for 2024. It's on PS5 and Switch. A little more pricey, this one, $69.99 on sale right now, ship free. So that's Grease, My Friend Pedro, Carrion, and Inscription, reprinted this year by PNP Games. And then NEVA is coming in. When you hear them pronounce Ibiza, then you really question how the Spanish pronunciation is of any word. So now I'm just going to be up in my head about it. I'm pretty sure it's Ibiza, right? That's how they say it. It's wild. Anyways, that's my shilling for
that's
this
cool.
section.
So PNP goes, you guys initiate reprints of titles? You go back?
Yeah, so it's very different depending on the publisher and who owns the rights of anything, but we try very much to get those lists from publishers and see kind of what they're willing to do, what the minimum quantity is, and Devolver's been really good to us over this last year getting these games, and there are more to come. I will just say that.
That's awesome.
But it's really cool. It's preserving physical games. It's releasing alternative covers and versions of games. Sometimes it also includes an upgraded cartridge as things are updated on the Switch when they go to reprint them. Not every publisher does this or is even forthcoming with it, but it's coming more and more not popular, but important to collectors to kind of know what version they're getting, because at some point, I hate to say it, that Switch service is going to be turned off and those updates are no longer going to be able to be installed. Meaning if you have a copy of the game that's fully upgraded on the cart, you can play that well into the apocalypse, whereas there may be another game that required a patch or plays pretty rough without one. And one day that patch is no longer going to be available, which is a scary thought with the Switch and all the physical games that it has produced. But that's where we're at. Physical, man. grab it.
love
That's
it.
what we're saying about Marvel vs. Capcom. That game will go bye-bye from digital services at some point, and even if you have it downloaded, you lose that hard drive, it becomes corrupt. Yeah. It's gone. Not
or
that
you
discs
move on to a new
infallible.
console, which I think is what we all do. And I'm cool with the digital stuff that I get because you see how many games I play throughout the year, and I'm okay with it. But I love that there are these physical options and solutions, and I think some special experiences, like Gree, like most of what Devolver publishes, those are exquisite collectibles. Those are amazing things to have in your collection. They work so long to curate this wonderful collection of published titles, and they deserve to be sitting on people's shelves for sure. I think that's great, man. I think that's awesome. Let's talk about another special indie game that's available for the Switch, but also for other platforms as well. We're talking about BZZZT, and this is a game that I've talked a little bit about. I actually discovered it on Steam last year, and I love it. I think it's a really cool title. Made by one person, I understand, and it's very much like a Super Meat Boy type of experience where you're being challenged by the environments and you're doing your best to not get slaughtered by all of these spiky things and electrical things. But the puzzle solving that you can do and the abilities that you start to pick up as you go, really, really addictive. It's a beautiful fit on the Switch, on the OLED screen. Oh my God, it looks incredible. But it runs great on the deck or the Ally. It's also a Mac game, which is pretty damn freaking cool.
Looks like Blaster Master.
Yeah, it's really real. I mean, little robot action adventure type games. I'm in. I'm really into it. And this is kind of like screen based as well. Like you beat a level and then you can take a break and then come back to it. So it's like bite size in terms of its challenge as well. And it reboots right away because you're gonna die a lot. This is a game about dying and then starting over and over again. But it's really charming. Really cool game.
Cool. No physical for this one yet that I know
yet.
of.
Okay.
But looks cool. Yeah.
Definitely check this out. Gift it to somebody, and let's hope that this does well enough that it gets its own physical down the road. I think that would be awesome. All right, we're going to take a second break right now, but we're going to be right back with some Xbox games.
Yeah, I got a girl I'm crushing on right now. Used to date one of my rivals, though. We just junction so well together, you know? I met her at PNP Games. She said I was the best-looking guy there.
All right, we are back, and before we get into talking about Stalker 2: Heart of Chernobyl, Leah's got something he wants to show off here. What you got there, Lee?
I got a shipment from PNP Games. That's right. I am also a PNP Games customer. And some of these deals were just so good, I couldn't pass them up. I have not opened this prior to this, so they could have filled this with sawdust as a funny joke to me, but I don't think they would do that. What
packed.
did I buy?
Oh my God!
It's absolutely filled to the
Look
brim.
at all that stuff. That's
yes,
crazy.
We used every part of it. It wasn't shipped to me, so they put it on my desk. Therefore, they didn't have to worry about it. But man, look at this. This is perfect. So we have crew socks. I've been talking about them. They're included with several games that we have on sale right now, but they are otherwise $6.99 for a pair. These are good quality. I've not held these socks in my hand until just now. These are good quality socks. We got Kirby. I got the Zelda ones I mentioned. We got Animal Crossing.
Cool.
Other Kirby, these are ankle socks, if that's
awesome.
how you roll. In Manitoba winters, probably not doing too many ankle socks. We got a sticker, of course. This is the XP loyalty sticker. We have some other stickers on the table here I can show you later. I got a copy of The Outer Worlds, brand new for the PS4. This cost me $14.99.
Great game.
I got Middle Earth Shadow of War. Hell yeah. This game cost me $5 brand new for the Xbox. I got Deus Ex Mankind Divided. This was also $5 brand new on the Xbox.
Excellent game.
Of course, you can play those on the Xbox Series X.
Right.
And then over here, I got some incomplete games because we are past and present games, don't forget.
Right.
So I actually got some PS1 games, and you would never be able to guess what they are. It is Elmo's Number Journey and Elmo's Letter Adventure. I have a toddler who's right in the Elmo zone, so we're gonna fire these up on the PS1.
Great.
And see if they aren't absolutely frightening.
How's your PS1 working? Is it running okay?
It's great. It's right over here. It's working really, really well. Actually,
Awesome.
Thank you for asking.
Awesome.
Yeah, got these TVs behind me are hooked up to basically every video game console that exists.
That's great.
A little fun fact. So my playing of retro games has gone up 1,000,000%. And this right here, this is a Animal Crossing loot box. It is $24.99 right now. You get an ice cube tray, a pint glass, a journal that you can use for playing video games, write your notes in, a hat, and then some silicone coasters as well. Only $25. Or you can buy it with Animal Crossing New Horizons for $79.99. We'll just toss it in there for free.
Wow.
That is that. And then, of course, one more set of socks here with KK.
You get, if you buy Animal Crossing New Horizons, you get that as part of it.
So we have 2 bundles.
Yeah.
$54.99 gets you the socks with Animal Crossing as part of the promo, or $79.99 we throw in the loot box, or just buy the loot box on its own for $25.
That
was what I purchased, so I'll be running this up to the wife as an early Christmas.
Every time I log into the
games
Switch, I have a buddy that's still playing Animal Crossing. Every time.
That's kind of me. Especially in the fall when the mushroom thing kind of rolls around, the best time of year in Animal Crossing.
Yeah.
I'll definitely revisit. It is absolutely insane that they stopped supporting that game. That's all I'm going to say here.
Well, you know that more is coming. You know, they've got a new machine. And I think Animal Crossing is probably going to be one of those first titles that they're going to show off, because it was such a... God, it was such... You know, that's the game that got me talking with CNN. It was doing such a huge amount of business, and everybody was talking about Animal Crossing, and CNN
during the pandemic? Was that
and they said, do you want to start popping up on the show and talking about games? And I was like, yeah, well, absolutely, let's do it. And it was because of Animal Crossing. All right, well, let's talk about something that's very different from Animal Crossing. It's Stalker 2, Heart of Chernobyl, which is an incredibly dour and brutal and cool game. Yeah, and also very much a throwback to the way that games were designed. This is a title that's been in development forever, and it's been made in the Ukraine, which is also insane. That these developers have had to endure like actual real-world insanity and persevere through that to build us something that actually is really coming together very well. I know they had a bit of a choppy launch with a day 0 patch, but it is slick, and it's very moody, and there's some weird psycho sort of supernatural kind of pieces in here as well. But yeah, it's a very slick game, and I'm looking forward to playing a lot more of it over the holidays.
If you like the exploration aspect of Fallout, if you like the idea of like seeing that burned out barn and going and poking around in it, Stalker is a game that makes that barn so important to you. There's a bit of a prologue segment you go through, at the end of which they really take everything away from you and kind of leave you in the wasteland. The world is very interesting. It's a exclusion zone that's slowly been expanded as more experiments and like crazy stuff is happening. And it's taking place in a world where the rest of the world, to my knowledge, is basically unchanged. It's just like us right now. But over there, it's PMCs and it's people selling weapons into this exclusion zone and treasure hunters and all this crazy stuff on top of the supernatural elements of there being anomalies which you encounter and can literally use to your advantage against enemies, or are a complete hindrance and annoyance when you're just trying to run away from something in the dark and the literal air is trying to kill you. But it's a competent shooter, really cool exploration game, some light survival elements. It is brutal on higher difficulties. The engagements are not like Fallout, where you're just like casually mowing down people. On the normal difficulty in this game, most every encounter is a fight for your life, which not everybody likes, so maybe kick it down to easy, as it were, just to enjoy the game a little more. But that aspect of it just makes everything seem so dangerous. And I'm really enjoying it. I'm maybe 3-4 hours into this game right now, but it's not a game where I'm like, I'm going to mainline the main quest. No, it's something you have a huge map, and you just kind of go to your points of interest, and
be careful where you go.
Oh, absolutely. And the survival game aspects of it really make you take your time, really make every little homestead you come across or person you come across in the universe matter so much. So yeah, if it's looking like something that's kind of up your alley, chances are it will be. I'm playing on Xbox Series X, and I've had very little issues
Great.
in terms of bugs or anything like that. It's on Game Pass, of course. So if you've already got the Game Pass, it's just going to cost you a 150 gigabyte download. Otherwise, there is a physical edition. It's $79.99 currently. So
very cool.
Cool game.
Yeah.
Want to play more? Yeah.
I definitely want to jump into this game. I've played a little bit of it, and I was impressed by what I saw. But I heard about the bumpy launch, and I thought, okay, I'll let this sort of even out. And I've got Indiana Jones on the very near horizon, so that's going to take my attention, I think, very soon. But this is, this is good. It's and it's a good win for Xbox right now, which is cool because this is Xbox publishing this for Xbox and also for PC as well. Let's talk about Like a Dragon, which came out at the very beginning of the year, and this is an incredibly ambitious title. So much beautiful work in this game. I love that the folks over at Sega's RGG, I can't remember how to pronounce the Japanese version of that name.
Go Togo?
Yeah. How much they're sort of invited to reinvent this franchise and just go off in all kinds of wacky and weird sort of tangents. They know that we as players of this franchise love the mini games and the creativity and the sense of levity that's injected into some of this brutal stuff that you have to contend with. You know, you're trying to deal with survival as in the world of the Yakuza. In this one, you get to go to Hawaii and start new businesses and get into fights, of course, but also spend some time on the beach. And, it's just loaded with all kinds of really cool elements and very creative elements. I haven't finished this game, but what I've played I really enjoyed, and I also know it's an incredibly value-packed experience. I don't know, though, if this is the one to start with for people.
No, so funny story. I've played every Like a Dragon game or Yakuza game now except this one. I just finished Gaiden.
Yeah.
So my suggestion is if you can grab a copy of Yakuza 0, start with that, or in fact just start with Kiwami 1.
Yeah.
The tricky part is in the middle because 3, 4, and 5, while they have been remastered for the PS4 and they're gettable and playable, those games still very much are stuck kind of in that PS3 era in terms of their gameplay.
Yeah.
The stories in all of these games are amazing. This has become my favorite video game series that exists. I cried like a baby at the end of Like a Dragon Gaiden. I'm so invested in these characters and the world now. And like you said, it's I say it's a JRPG for adults, and what I mean by that is it respects your time in that whatever you want to come to the game for, it's there for you. If you want to shoot some pool and play darts, it's there. If you want to have an emotional narrative experience story, push the main quest forward. If you want something that's just fun and to engage with the gameplay, be it the beat 'em up or the turn-based battles that this game has, that's all there for you in equal measure, and that can make the games last 200 hours for you, or you can beeline it and be done in that usual JRPG 60 to 80. But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to digging my teeth into this one. It's a matter of time. Like I said, I'm current on the series, so I could play this, and they of course have in February
the pirate one.
The pirate Yakuza game coming out as well. You get to play as Majima, which I'm very much excited about. We won't talk about the Amazon Prime series at all here. Yeah, but it's I haven't. It's an incredible series. This one from another person in the warehouse who enjoys these games and kind of came on with Like a Dragon, Yakuza 7, which is the first Ichiban-led title. Yep. That might also be a good jumping on point, but you're not getting quite the full experience with how the battles play out in that. That being said, it's a phenomenal game, and you could absolutely jump in on that one. We have it for $19.99 on the PS4 right now with a free PS5 upgrade. Keep that in mind.
That was the previous Like a Dragon game, right?
Correct. And then Infinite Wealth right now, $34.99.
Amazing.
Or $25 US on PS4, PS5, or Xbox. You can jump into this game.
Do you have a bundle deal by chance where you've got them?
We do have a Yakuza bundle right now. We weren't able to get Yakuza 0 in time for the holidays, but if I look it up, I believe it's Kiwami 1 through 6.
Yep.
Yeah, so it's going to give you Kiwami 1, Kiwami 2, 3, 4, 5 as remastered, and 6 Song of Life for $100 Canadian is what you're going to pay there.
Wow.
To get physicals on PS4 of those games. But yeah, they are available digitally. They jump on and off Game Pass, so check. These games are available in a lot of places, but definitely a series that's worth getting into. Absolutely, I recommend, that I got into way too late my gaming career.
They're,
but now
they're
I'm
amazing. The only
Yeah.
thing that I think is a little challenging with this game series is that they have so many of them, you know, and it is a little overwhelming, and the cadence is maybe a little bit too high. Like I think one every couple of years would probably serve the franchise a little bit better. And I know that they've gone through stages where they've done that, but I mean, it feels like Infinite Wealth just came out, and we've got a pirate one coming out in early 2025, you know? But clearly the audience for this franchise is growing and growing, and they're finding new ways in.
Yeah. They're very much in the conversation. People are watching them very carefully. I think the quality is just going up on them. They're already talking about revising the Dragon engine, which is their own in-house engine they make these games on. And I can't say enough good things about this series.
Yeah, I love this franchise. All right, let's talk about Call of Duty Black Ops 6, which was a nice return to form for the Call of Duty franchise. You know, I really enjoyed the stealthier elements in this game. It really kind of reminded me of my favorite stealth shooters of the past. And aesthetically, hard to have any issues or qualms with what the Call of Duty teams have been able to do. Treyarch did an amazing job putting this together. There's always this, idea of subterfuge and sneaking through things and not trusting people, backstabbing. There's a lot of that. There's also a lot of allusions in the campaign to games that look like the developers have been enjoying. And so they are very, they're emulating stuff that we have seen in other really fantastic experiences out there, which is cool. I mean, I think, developers like to borrow from each other. But it's a beautiful game, and also a very, very stacked game. The multiplayer will keep you busy. Zombies is a little bit fresher and a little bit more fun this year. I've been having a blast with Black Ops 6, and I think it's a huge success for a good reason this year. It's pretty hard to, complain about how much value you get when you pick up this one.
Yeah, not one I've played yet. I think the last Call of Duty I really sunk my teeth in was maybe Advanced Warfare, when they added the juking mechanic and stuff like that.
Yep.
And you threw Kevin Spacey out that building or whatever. I think.
I love that one.
That was a really good game.
It was a really fun game.
The campaign was good, yeah. But after that, kind of fallen off. I will check this out. I mean, it is on Game Pass. Let's be real, people. So if you got the hard drive space, you can try this thing out for a cup of coffee. You can buy it, of course, too. $89.99 PS4, PS5, and Xbox.
Right.
If you've got that Call of Duty fan who just buys it every year, you can do that too.
Yeah.
But yeah, looks they needed to. This one was the first one to come out on Game Pass at launch. They had previously put, I think, Modern Warfare 3 and maybe one other on there, but this was the first one it needed to hit, and by all accounts, it's a solid Call of Duty game. When games start getting up into the 6 sequels, when it's a sub thing in the series, so like we're gonna have Modern Warfare 4 and Black Ops 7, and it's
and they're starting again.
Track, but
they did a Modern Warfare, and then they started again, and we're getting sequels of remakes.
Is anybody still Mason? The numbers, Mason? Is anyone really is the lore carried on? Are we still talking about the things that happened in those games in this one? Or
some people are, and I have to be kind of reacquainted every year, and I don't feel super emotionally charged when I play these games in terms of real concern for the characters, but I do like the ride they always take me on. They're always larger than life, and I mean, look at these visuals are just incredible.
Yeah,
and the mechanics are tried and true. They're getting a little bit crazy, I think, Call of Duty in general, where they're looking at the Fortnite opportunities that exist out there and taking characters that are totally incongruous to the sort of more gritty realism that Call of Duty has been.
Sure.
It's getting a little silly. But you know what? Let the developers cook and let them have some fun and try different things. When you're running with a franchise for this long, as we saw with the Yakuza games, just let them explore, man. Let them go off in these different tangents. It can lead to some really clever and fun new things. All right, let's move on to our next Xbox game, but you can play it on a bunch of different platforms. I'm talking about Star Wars Outlaws, which I know was a little bit of a divisive title for people out there. Some people really didn't take to this experience and saw its flaws, and I was certainly not oblivious to the issues and flaws in there, but it's also a very large game that did a fantastic job at delivering the Star Wars vibe and the Star Wars experience. Walking around Mos Eisley and sneaking into Jabba's palace and going on all of these missions that let you just kind of cruise around and explore these really well-crafted worlds was unbelievably fun and fulfilling for me. I really liked just getting lost and being K-Vess and Nyx and getting into this adventure. I think they did a really, really nice job with it. I'm a big fan of the Massive team, the studio that built this. I really enjoyed their previous titles, and I was excited to see what they were going to do with this title. I feel like maybe they needed a little bit more time in the kitchen to clean up some of the stuff that's been recently patched, but I still really have enjoyed this title quite a bit. How did it do for you guys as a title on the store shelves?
For sure. So, like if we're comparing it to the other Star Wars kind of thing going right now, which is Star Wars Jedi from Respawn, has had a couple entries now. That one was definitely the more popular of the two games. I think as a Star Wars experience, everybody who I've heard of who is still deep into Star Wars, who can enjoy Star Wars as a brand, as a thing to walk around in a theme park like environment, thought this game was fine, thought it delivered on what they expected it to. But other people coming to it just being like, I'm looking for action stealth, and this is kind of lacking, or like the AI here isn't up to snuff with what I want out of a critical experience like that. That maybe even Star Wars Jedi has that this game doesn't have, kind of being compared. Like you said, I maybe it needed a little more time in the oven to flesh it out. They did stuff with the recent update, like there's no more force stealth, I'm to understand, so you can just gun your way out of scenarios, which, if is that or is that not what the developers had maybe initially intended? Is it just that screw it, we want people to kind of enjoy the walking around segments, don't put those kind of hurdles in their way? But not the best selling Star Wars game, admittedly. I'll just say that straight up, but at a sale price of $59.99, some people are checking it out. It's on PS5 and Xbox for that right now from Ubisoft. So it's check it out. Again, if you're a Star Wars fan, you just want a Star Wars world to walk around in, this does deliver. But in terms of if you are the most hardcore action or stealth fan, maybe look somewhere else.
It's also a big Star Wars playground, right? Like you're getting into spaceships and flying to different planets, and you're jumping onto the back of hover bikes, and you get a power-up that lets you race across water and stuff as you go into the game. There's a lot to see in this title. There's little mini Star Wars-themed arcade games that you can play, and lots of different side quests and different characters that you can connect with, and you're trying to create these relationships with these different criminal organizations in the underworld, and so that's going to have ties to previous Star Wars stuff. And I love the Jedi games. Those are better games, but this still delivers a lot of really cool ideas and concepts and stories, and the music is amazing in this game as well. Like, I've really been having fun with Star Wars Outlaws. All right, so let's move on to our next title, which is very unique. This is KUNITSU-GAMI, Path of the Goddess from Capcom.
Might be my game of the year. It's a really good game. Like it's
an
so
amazing
unique.
game.
I could start talking about it. So do you like Pikmin?
Yes.
It's kind of, you have these different scenarios. You are like a servant or a defender of this goddess who is purging the land of some kind of miasma, gross stuff. There are demons based on Japanese folklore and stuff like that. You recruit villagers and you can turn them into different jobs, and they kind of work as defenders along the way. You choose where to place them. You're purging stuff yourself, powering yourself up. And what ends up happening is new elements are introduced into each level. So at a certain point, they make it so you don't get control of your main character, and you have to rely on traps and things you set up. As there is a day-night cycle where at nighttime is when the demons come out. You have to kind of halt your progress and survive until morning with whatever you have at that point. You can't make any more progress. So basically what you're doing is going out as your main character. You are cleaning things up as best you can. You are recruiting enemies. You are setting traps, and then you are basically carving a path for the goddess to follow.
Yes.
You're doing your reconnaissance, and then she's just going to go along that path until she's either attacked, and you have to defend her. Nighttime happens, and she stops, etc., etc., and it just keeps building.
Look at this. It's freaking
it's amazing.
Beautiful.
Yeah. It looks great. The dynamic camera angles is very different for an action game. It's got a little bit of everything, but if you like kind of genre defying action games, check this out. It's on Game Pass. It didn't get a physical release. Capcom was scared of doing that after Exoprimal, I guess. But this is an incredible game and one of the most slept on games of the year, as far as I'm concerned, with what it brings to the table. So check it out. It's like, look at it. It's
Agreed. It's got a tower defense kind of vibe to it. There's a tactical sort of strategic element in there as well about where you're placing all of the helpers that you have. But it's stunning, it's beautiful, and it's very, very unique as well. You know, it's not like any other title that came out this year. So if you're looking for a very cool game that likely a lot of your friends don't have and you might not have, you should check out KUNITSU-GAMI, Path of the Goddess. Amazing title.
Yeah.
That's on Xbox. You can pick it up on PC. Runs great on the Steam Deck as well, and on PlayStation. All right, let's go on to Dragon Age: The Veilguard. And this game also had a lot of detractors, a lot of people that were upset with some of the writing and character choices. I had a hell of a lot of fun playing this game. It is absolutely much more of an accessible action role-playing experience than some role-playing games tend to be, and I would argue that some of the previous Dragon Age games took a little bit of time to kind of sort of acclimate and get used to them, and this one, I think, is trying to kind of reinvent the Dragon Age brand and sort of bring more people to it. And I think they did a great job at sort of crafting this beautiful world for us to explore, and lots of interesting enemies to fight, and environmental elements to kind of deal with and contend with. And then, of course, the big thing here is that you're making all kinds of allies with characters along the way, and you're basically being the leader of a team, and the challenges that come with that. You know, the interpersonal challenges and the struggles that each of these independent characters has in the world. And what you're trying to do is just keep everybody together, because you've got some big, ominous things to contend with as a team at the end of the game. And the game does a decent job of, judging your abilities with leadership to get the best ending for yourself towards the conclusion of this. And of course, you can go back and retry things in a bunch of different ways, and it's a really, really cool experience, and it's very, very deep. There's a lot of replayability in this one as well. Did you check this one out?
So I did not check this one. I'm not traditionally the biggest fan of Dragon Age. I love Mass Effect to death.
Yep.
I think BioWare was kind of really up against it with just where the zeitgeist is on them right now, where it's just like, well, none of the people are even there that made the games I like. And then while they're in the middle of developing this, over how long it was and a name change and everything, friggin' Baldur's Gate 3 comes out and changes the entire game, right? Like it changes like, oh, no, you can do heavy RPG elements now. You can do role-playing where you literally lock yourself out of things in the game, or that until you start a new file. No, that you have to live with your decision. And I think the idea to go more action-heavy, to maybe not casual it up, but make it more accessible, make it a little more streamlined, was the correct way to go. This game is selling fine. People are checking out Dragon Age. If they're a fan, they're picking it up, and they're enjoying what's here. They're enjoying the offering, and it's what they expected it to be. Yeah. So I'm not going to hold that against anyone. How dare you enjoy video games? No, but it's. I think they pivoted in a very smart way. It's, even if it's a layup W, just a game that does okay, ekes by, had its detractors, but ultimately is an okay game, I think, is what BioWare absolutely needed right now. Yeah. After the track record of Andromeda and, of course, Anthem, which you can pick up for $5 on PNP Games online.com right now. But yes, Dragon Age: The Veilguard does not have a sale going on right now for Black Friday, perhaps in the future, but otherwise it's available for $89.99 on PS5 and Xbox. So yeah.
I mean, it's a deep action-oriented role-playing game, and if you've got BioWare fans on your list that haven't checked this out and maybe don't have any predisposed kind of opinions on it before checking it out, I think this is definitely one that people should be looking at as a good pickup and as a potential gift for somebody out there. I think it's a great game. All right, let's move on to another game that I think is wonderful, and this is Space Marine 2. Which does harken back to a different time. There's huge Gears of War kind of vibes in this game. It's very big. It's very, brassy, and I love the character creations in this. I've always loved the Warhammer 40K kind of aesthetic, and it's so much better than the original Space Marine game, which I always felt really didn't serve the property all that well, even though it was made by a great developer, Relic. This one, I forget the name of the company that made it, but I think it's Saber that's Saber and Focus are bringing it out to the world. But it's great. It looks amazing, runs great on all the platforms that I've checked it out on, which includes the Ally X and the PlayStation 5 and the PS5 Pro. It's a really, really fun action game, and there's some cool multiplayer hooks in here as well, and the ability to customize your armor, and lots to see and explore. You're taking a look at some beautiful, beautiful aesthetics here as well. They did a great job with this title, and it's widely praised, and I think it deserves all of the the flowers it's getting. It's a great game.
I had the pleasure of playing through the campaign with 2 other people, like start to finish kind of thing, and it was a good time. It, like we said with Stellar Blade, it's kind of a throwback. It's very simple but very flashy.
Yeah.
So what you're doing is just viscerally so much fun. Like the shooting feels good. You feel powerful. You're chopping up these hordes of enemies. There are some set piece moments that I feel achieve what they're going for. The story was cool. They actually have some like inner turmoil between the 3 characters and the past of the main character and his kind of situation of being believed to be a heretic and like everything kind of being through. I don't know if you know anything about the Warhammer lore and stuff like that. I sure don't, but the 2 people I was playing with did.
Yeah.
So they let me know as we went, which was kind of a tour of the universe to me. And then there is, of course, a version where you can have a class-based system, customize your character, and kind of play something that's akin to like a Destiny strike, I would say.
Yeah.
And you unlock these by playing the campaign. You can do them over and over again. There's some DLC coming for this game, but
it's great.
It was a fun game. Yeah. Great.
Yeah.
On sale too. $69.99 PS5 and Xbox right now. Canadian dollars. You can get
That's
this game
awesome.
on sale.
Yeah, you can feel the Destiny vibes in this. It's like a fusion of Destiny and Gears of War. You can't beat that, right? I mean, those are some great, great pieces of game entertainment to pull from. All right, let's go to a Dead Rising Deluxe Remaster, which is a hell of a lot of fun. I mean, it's not a perfect game. You can still feel its roots in the clunkiness of the original, which was amazing at the time, but it's certainly dated. So you can still feel a little bit of that. But it has been cleaned up. There's some PS5 Pro enhancements, so better ray tracing and stuff like that if you have one of the new machines. But I just had fun, man. I checked this out at first. Capcom sent me preview code, and I checked it out on the Steam Deck and was having a blast, cobbling together weapons and wiping out zombies in a whole bunch of fun ways, and meeting all of these really weird, disparate characters that are more troubled, it feels like, and more menacing in some cases than the zombies that you're dealing with. And you're exploring this crazy mall that just goes on and on and on forever. You get totally lost, and taking photographs of everybody. And it definitely looks better, plays a bit better. And I just think it's a game that's kind of stood the test of time. It's just fun being frank, and it's fun, getting into this insane carnage.
It was a crazy game on 360. Like when I bought an Xbox 360, I was going to buy this game or Oblivion. Yeah. And I ended up going with Oblivion first, but the scope of it and the amount of enemies and just how you kind of free roam around this mall and you come across all these new things and you find these weapons that you come back to time and again. It is a time looping game. There is a time limit. Yep. So you do have to do certain things within a time limit or you lose it or have to do it the next time you play. But that's okay. It's super unique. It's what Capcom does best, where it's just like, what genre is this game? It is no genre. We are making something completely new, and it will... I would like to see all the other games come. It's a little expensive, in my opinion, at $69.99 for the physical of this game, especially with the 360 version, working on the Xbox One and kind of getting a digital re-release at some point. It's weird that the price is going up, but if what you say is true, the fidelity is there, and it's still a fun experience. Could be worth it for you.
It really charmed me. The more I played, I'm like, okay, I see the value and why they brought this out again. I mean, they cleaned it up. They made the characters look a lot more like people. It's a cool game.
Did you play 3 and 4 when they came out? You must have it.
Yes, I did.
Right?
Yeah. They got way more action. They were all cool, but they got way more less. I think with 4, what they did is it got a lot easier. it inhibited you a
less
lot
complicated
less
in its
complicated,
mechanics.
yeah. And this is a series that is about the details and is about the quirks and the fiddling with things. And
Definitely.
I think it lost a little bit of its flavor as it went on. Still some
It's
great
obtuse,
work there.
I think is the word for it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Unicorn Overlord. And I haven't played much of this, but holy crap, is it gorgeous! And I just think that Vanillaware, they do this hand-drawn illustration, this beautiful animated elements that just are unique to the studio. And this is a really freaking cool tactical role-playing game. It's such a treasure, it's such a beautiful work of art, this title.
Yeah.
I love this company. I love the stuff that they build for us, and Unicorn Overlord is very special. It's weird that it's not on PC, this game. This would be an excellent game. No, it's only on the consoles, and I don't know why the hell they're doing that. But great fit on the Switch. I've got the PS5 version of this game, and it's gorgeous. I mean, there's not much else I can say. Like, it's a really lovely gift from the studio to fans of role-playing games, fans of tactical action-type games. I really, really dig this one.
And it could be a great gift to a gamer on your holiday list, because this game is on sale right now, $39.99.
Holy crap!
On
really?
PS5, Switch, or Xbox. Yeah,
wow.
$39.99 Canadian, or it was like $28.50 US, I think.
That's a great price.
Yeah, that's one of the better prices for it, I think, in recent as well. So check it out.
Yep.
And there are other games too. Vanillaware is absolutely killing it. Quietly, one of the best developers going.
Yep.
They choose different genres, but they apply their art style to each one in kind of new and unique ways that just kind of blow. Like, look at this art.
It's insane.
Nuts.
It's so
That's
stunning.
a menu. They didn't have to draw that in the background.
I know.
But they did for you.
The One Slur is listing them all out for us. 13 Sentinels, Odin's Sphere, Dragon's Crown, all amazing. Yeah.
Miramasa, that was one. Yeah.
They're fantastic. Oh yeah, Miramasa, I love that too. All right, so check that out if you haven't. Unicorn Overlord for the Xbox. We've got one more big AAA for Xbox, but it's also out there for the PlayStation. Not on PC, not on Switch. I don't know why EA doesn't bring NHL to the Switch. I think it would be a huge hit. But NHL 25, this is their first time that they're focused exclusively on the current gen, so it's PS5 and Xbox Series S and X. And again, I'm a fan of video games, and I like hockey. I like ice hockey. I don't follow the sport. I don't have the insane attention to all of the minutia of the sport. I just play it and have fun. And there's better right stick functionality. Skating backwards is a lot more flexible. It's a lot more fun. You have to fight for those goals, but it feels unbelievable when you do get those goals and those one-timers and stuff. I think this game is gorgeous. It runs really well on the PS5, which is where I've been playing it. It's a hell of a lot of fun to play. And I don't know yet, because I'm still sort of putting my thoughts together for the Rocket Reagan Awards, if this is my favorite of the sports games. I've got more to play, but I've been having a blast playing NHL 25. How's it doing this year? Are people... I mean, everybody's angry with sports games. And in Canada, everybody hates what EA does with NHL every year, it feels like. But everybody buys it. It's like a love-hate thing,
For sure. Yeah, so like hockey is by far their lowest performing. Of course, in Canada, we're a little biased, and we're like, well, it's the best sport. Why isn't it selling the most?
Yeah.
I think hockey is an explosive sport in terms of speed. I feel like we've had hockey games in the past that better kind of emulate that slingshot of being able to stop on your skates and explode in another direction.
Yeah.
I think if they just took the training wheels off of it, like what I want is an arcade hockey game. What I wish is that there was still a 2K or someone making that arcade style hockey game,
and not buried within a menu either. Like not sort of like, we've also added an arcade. No, they should focus on an arcade game and let us just go nuts with super fast accessibility. I totally agree with you.
They're compiling everything into one. Like if they're looking at their schedule and they're like, no, we have the NHL license, but we are not going to spend more time than one game per year on this.
Yeah,
is where I wish someone else could be like, okay, well, if that's the simulation, someone else can come to them and be like, we want to make the arcade version. We want to make the 3-on-3 NHL version.
Yeah,
for everybody else,
which they have
or at
in
least
here.
And this could,
but it's
like,
part of their
is there a
world
mode
of
where,
Chell and all that, you know.
Okay, is there a mode where like the backward skating, the stick handling where you can almost put that on automatic, where like I could play this with my dad and he'd be able to push square to shoot still. That's okay.
Yeah, you can play with classic controls. You can dumb it all down, but again, it's too much interference for most people. And that's what I usually talk about in my reviews. It's like I don't want to open the game and the first thing I'm hit with is the store. Any game, but sports games are notorious for that. But at the core, I mean, foundationally they've had so many years, decades now to work with this as an idea for a video game. They know how to make a fun core video game. It's fun to play these things, all of these sports games, but they are cluttered with all of the other hooky things that they need to make each of these games big businesses, all of them, which I understand, but I do think that there is an appetite and an opportunity to get more people in. Like, it just drives me crazy that there isn't an NHL
a sports game used to be the most simple thing, right? Like, there used to be so many a year because it's just like, it's all down to gameplay. They're all going to have the same players and the same teams, and it's the same sport. But what makes them or a racing game stand out from another racing game? And I feel we kind of lost the plot on that, where each one has to be they can never truly innovate or truly change anything, because the people who are coming back every year are just looking for an upgraded version of what happened before, with some fixes, right?
Tuned stats and new moves and new flexibility and AI on the goalies that feels like they're not super goalies or whatever. I get the complaints, but I just play these things. I was like, man, okay, well, I had fun. It does take a while. The training wheels analogy you made there is apt. But once you start to feel the groove, it's like, oh man, this is a lot of fun. And I have been having fun with NHL 25. So chances are pretty good. Yeah, it's on sale, and chances are pretty good that who might want an NHL game might have already picked it up. But in the off chance that you want to sit down with a buddy and play this with them, this might be a good get. What are you guys selling it at right now?
Sure. $44.99 on the PS5 and the Xbox. And then, of course, college football and Madden are also kind of rebated similarly at price, if you're more of a football fan.
Awesome.
But it's there's going to be another one next year. So
there is. Yes.
Yep.
All right. Well, let's move on to some indies that you can play on Xbox, but other platforms as well.
Sure.
First one up is Iron Meat. And this game is a hell of a lot of fun. It is very evocative of the Contra games, the classic Contra games. It is side-scrolling, but with just, an unbelievable... It's like the carnage got turned to 11. So the stuff's exploding all over the place, and it's very bloody and gory, and so freaking satisfying. It's tough as hell. You're going to die a lot. It's uncompromising in that way. But it's a blast. It's a beautiful piece of work, and a great fit on. You can play it on the big screen with your consoles, and it's great there. But I've been playing it a lot on the Steam Deck while I've been traveling, and it's been amazing. It's such an awesome game to play in handheld mode.
Awesome. There was a game semi-recently called Blazing Chrome that was giving me big vibes of.
Yep.
But yeah, Contra games are fantastic. That's a train with a mouth right there I'm looking at.
It's so wild. Yep, love that game. I was also a big fan of the Tales of KENZERA Zao. I haven't had time to get back and play the game to its conclusion, but I love this idea of the duality of the character and these different abilities. And clearly, they spent as much time embellishing the lore and the storytelling. There's voice acting all the way through this, and it's gorgeous. I mean, the color choices and the aesthetics of it. It's based in Africa. I don't know if it's based on actual African legends or anything, but I was really impressed by this title. I'm a big fan of Metroidvania type games. I just dig them. And this is not as good as Prince of Persia: The Lost Crown, which came out and didn't really find its audience. And so this one, I think, came out and really didn't find a huge audience either.
Prince of Persia can't do it, right?
Yeah. But it's cool, It's just it's a really cool game. If you are into this kind of exploring and retraversing and leveling up your character and going back and finding all these different abilities, and getting sort of puzzled by the map, like freezing the water and jumping off of it. I mean, it's a freaking cool game.
Sure.
Yeah. All right. And the last of the indies that I have for the Xbox, but I played this on... what did I play? I played this on Steam Deck, but it's an amazing game no matter where you find it. It's called The Plucky Squire, and this is a very clever storybook action-adventure game where you're jumping between perspectives. You're in this 2D, actually rifling through a picture book, a kid's picture book, and going on adventures there, and then you can find secret portals that pop you out into 3D, and you can walk around on the desk around the book and explore the sort of more cartoony kind of Pixar world. So you're in like classic Disney storybook mode, and then you're in Pixar land for a little bit. All the enemies kind of carry over, and then you find these cool things like playing cards, or you go and you'll have like a turn-based battle with the character inside of the card and stuff. Lots of different unique ideas with the gameplay that borrow from other genres and other types of games out there, and they did a really wonderful job with that. I think it's a very, very charming game. There's also a story-focused version of the play as well, so you can just play that if you don't want to get into too many of the battles or whatever. So that would be a fun one to play with a younger player that might be in your life. But it's beautiful and original, and I hope it's the beginning of a lot more. This is another one published by Devolver, another game showing the diversity of that really cool company. They must have a physical of this one.
They never miss. So yeah, there is a physical coming in February for this one on the 21st. And that's going to be PS5 and Switch. And just like NEVA, it's going to have a $44.99 Canadian dollar standard edition, and then a $69.99 Canadian dollar deluxe, which is shipped free in Canada, the United States, from PNP Games. Great. I started playing this game not knowing of the twist.
Yeah.
So when it happens and the villain kind of just like boop, and pops you out of the storybook aspect of it, I'm like, oh, okay, here we go. And yeah, it's got the genres you are seeing on display here. It plays very good as one of those, and emulates a lot of other video games, uses them in different references and mini games.
Here's a turn-based RPG right here, which is just awesome. There's a Punch-Out mini element in this game.
Earlier on.
Awesome, man.
Check it out. If you like video games, this game, it'll make you smile. It's a good time.
I really like this game. I really do hope that there's more to come from it too. I can only imagine what the developers learned building it. It's a big game too for an indie title. Like a lot of people worked on it. It's super ambitious. Yeah, very, very cool game. Well, we're going to take a break right now, but we're coming right back with PC.
Lee from PNP Games here with my latest purchase, a brand new Sega Saturn control pad. Buddy destroyed one in a heated Guardian Hero session last weekend. A small price to pay for a night of video games with friends. I don't know if you've been paying attention to this internet thing or not, but our days of playing multiplayer games in the same room as one another might be numbered, if only out of convenience. At Past and Present Games, it's our mission to keep the experience of video gaming tangible, as long as possible. Visit our retail locations in Winnipeg, or browse our entire inventory online at pnpgamesonline.com. You'll find a myriad of software, merch, and accessories from all generations of video gaming. And enjoy free shipping on orders of $65 Canadian or more within Canada and the USA. Now, back to the show!
All right, we are back, and we are talking about PC games now that are definite cool pickups for people. Now, not too many physical PC titles out there, so I don't know. Do you have
none? Yeah,
none, zero. So no PNP special offers or anything like that. Do you guys do Steam gift cards or anything?
We do, yeah. So currently only in store. We do those, $20 and $50 here in Winnipeg. But yeah, they are still. As a holiday gift, we sell quite a few of those stocking stuffers and stuff like that. A lot of these games, though, eyeballing them, are also console video games, which do have sales. So I will bring that up for us console folks out there as we talk about these. But yeah, PC, few and far in between. Usually, if there is a release, it's a collector's edition, and there's nothing physical in it for the game. You're just getting a PC token, typically, to download it, and that's kind of it. So. But that being said, the wealth of the breadth of games available on PC now is nuts. You have so many different,
it's irrefutable.
Be it Steam, Epic, wherever you're going. There's so much to play there and have access to build a library.
Well,
so
and
everybody's a PC gamer in some capacity.
Totally, and honestly, PlayStation, I think over the last several years has been one of the best publishers on PC, and I've got a bunch of PlayStation games. I think all of these are on sale too, but they are fantastic PC games. And what's cool is people, it's been such a walled garden with these PlayStation IP for so long that finally the floodgates are opening. Just as the the portable PCs have been really taking off. The Steam Decks and
Yeah.
the Alaxes and the other stuff. But Horizon, both games now are available for Steam Deck. Forbidden West came out this year. Fantastic game. The complete edition, but also they upgraded the Zero Dawn original release, which has been on PC for a little bit. So it's the remastered version that you can update to. And they're incredible. I mean, they are fantastic games no matter where you play them. They are Steam Deck compatible, so I don't know how the magicians have worked that out with their FSRs and all the other stuff to upscale these things so that they look great, even running with low settings or whatever. It's very impressive no matter how you play them, and excellent pickups. And these are both on sale, right? Or Zero Dawn Remastered is on sale.
Yeah. You're right. Remaster's not on sale, but you can get Forbidden West non-complete edition. It is technically on sale. We're going to try to get a restock in time. Otherwise, it's $30 on PS4 or just $40 on PS5 for the base Forbidden West on console.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. God of War Ragnarok came out this year for PC, and again, it's playable on the Steam Deck. I don't know how. I was just checking it
Somehow.
out. Yeah, I was playing it on the Ally X, actually, because I've been reviewing the PS5 Pro, and I was getting frame rates of 75 frames per second, so using some kind of frame generation or something, and it looked incredible on the Ally X. This is an amazing game. It is so huge. You don't want to play this without playing the original 2018 God of War, which is also out on PC, so start there. It's a carryover of this huge story. We're really getting to know Kratos as a compassionate character. He's a god, but he's got his troubles, and he's got family issues, and you got to kind of get into them all, and they just happen to intersect with these other tales, these other Norse god tales, and it's really wonderful writing, unbelievable performance, very moving stuff, and also just a brutal and unbelievably action-packed as well. Incredible series, and a great pickup on PC if you don't have this. Ghost of Tsushima.
Sure, yeah, you can. Go ahead.
Talk about God of War Ragnarok. How's it going on PS5?
Yeah, so it's a great game. You can pick up the first game, the 2018 game, for only $10 on the PS4 right now. PlayStation hits. We also have the World Serpent and Kratos plush for just $10, and then Ragnarok on console you can get for $30 on PS4 or $40 on PS5 as well. And they have not and will not do DLC for that game. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think they've moved on. Yes, they did the Valkyrie. They did a kind of a Souls-like variant for Ragnarok.
Oh, okay.
So I think they've released everything for Ragnarok. I think they've moved on to whatever is next.
Upward and onward.
Yeah. All right. And another PlayStation franchise, another unmissable game is Ghost of Tsushima.
Yes.
Did unmissable just pop up as I said unmissable?
You've done that a few times, and I've to just not slow down the stream. I haven't said it, but there's been several times where, as you say something, it's on the screen.
That's crazy. This is. I didn't even know that somebody said that about this, but it is not. It is an unmissable experience. This tale is gorgeous, and it's a redemption arc, and it's a revenge arc, and it's. Like the art design that Sucker Punch put into this game is breathtaking. It's truly just awe-inspiring. It's so colorful and magnificent, and it's like a great testament to the power and beauty of nature. It makes you want to go outside, and then you can also subvert everything and go into full-on black and white mode and play it like a Kurosawa movie. And it's just an accomplishment, just an achievement. I don't know if you know this, but the actual territory of Tsushima awarded the Sucker Punch teams for representing their countryside, for representing their district or their area so lovingly in this game, and it's what a profound accomplishment, and to be able to play this in handheld mode is insane. It's just so
one of my
good.
Favorite games of like maybe the last 3 generations of PlayStation, maybe one of my favorite games of all time. Like this is an unmissable experience, as they say. It's phenomenal. Really curious what they're going to do with the sequel. For it's a PlayStation game not developed by a Japanese team that they just fully adopted. They're just like, wow, you've nailed something here.
Yes.
The like you said, the nature when you can put your thumb up on the pad and it blows the wind in the direction of your objective, and you just do that over again. You see all the grass bending and flowing like that. You never get sick of it. You play this game for 80 hours, and it's still like the first time when that late title card pops up when you're riding through the field there. And might I add that the Ghost of Tsushima Legends mode in this game is absolutely phenomenal and slept on and free.
Yeah.
It is a survival mode. There is a raid mode. There's a campaign mode. You can play co-op with a friend. If you have this game or you know someone who likes Ghost of Tsushima who hasn't played through that co-op experience, get on it. It's incredible. You level up a character, you equip yourself. It kind of like limits the same kind of stuff like Jin has access to everything. Your online character is going to be more specialized in maybe only having smoke bombs or only having 2 fighting styles. So you want to actually kind of complement the other people in your group.
That's so cool.
It is an incredible mode that I've put like tens of hours into.
That's
so
awesome.
Do not sleep
Who
on
do you
the
play
Legends
with?
Mode. Yeah. Same guys from work I played the Space Marine 2 with. They're guys from the office, and just a really good time. We still have to finish the raid. We needed a 4th person that kind of had an end level character.
That's one of the benefits of working for a company like PNP, right? You got all these buds.
That's right.
You got to test the merchandise.
Find some buddies.
I love it, man.
You can tack up something in the lunchroom and just be like, needed another samurai to finish this raid and Ghost of Tsushima Legends mode. But yeah, this game is on sale on consoles. You can get the director's cut on PS4 for $30, and then you can get on PS5 for $40. And you play this game. It kind of came out in the shadow of Breath of the Wild, and people are like, oh, is it like another game with a massive map and a bunch of icons on it? Yes. But the way it flows between those things feels like something fresh. It feels like an evolution of the, dare I say, Ubisoft open world kind of idea. And that all I gotta say is Assassin's Creed Shadows has a lot of work to do to get up to the level of this experience. And we'll see if they have it in them.
Yeah, 100%.
In February.
I totally agree with that statement. All right,
for sure.
Another PlayStation game that's on PC is Helldivers, and this game took our breath away, our collective breath away when it launched earlier this year. Such a fun experience. It's so accessible. I remember I had so much skepticism because it doesn't look like it's going to be this brand new state-of-the-art take on anything. It looks dated, but that's the charm of it. It sort of embraces the fact that this is just a go balls out and just try to survive, and giant bugs are coming after you. And I was streaming this when I first played it, and I was running for my life. I'm like, oh my god! And I was loving every second of it. It's such a fun game, and it plays great on Steam Deck. It's obviously this is about a huge player base and people still playing, and I don't know where it sits right now, but it is, like let's say you've got a situation like you have where you've got a bunch of buds that all play together. This would be an incredible gift to give to a friend or a couple of friends and say, let's go on, let's get online and play together. And there's cross-play, and PlayStation's got to do the right thing and put this on Xbox as well.
It's a lot of fun. There's a lot of choices in the game that make it the perfect like chaos simulator, such as friendly fire is on. Yeah. If you toss a mag out before you've spent all the shells in it, you just lose those. That's a mechanic I want, honestly, in every video game that has survival mechanics. It's just like, if I fire one shot and I've got 9 in there and I drop it on the ground, those 9 are gone. I don't get them back in the next magazine. But the chaos, the way it can swing so quickly, where you think you got this under control, you think you have all your airdrops and stuff and nothing's going to touch you, your Teflon, and you come over a hill and there's just a army of robots coming at you, and one guy dies, and it's just, oh god, really, really fun game, objective-based game, really good action game, really good shooter. It has a really good look to it too, really moody, kind of like fog of war stuff going on in it. It's on sale on the PS5 for $40. PC, I'm sure they're running something there as well, but definitely worth checking out. I hope the player base sticks with it, because the dev was doing a lot of things right. They kind of got caught by surprise with the success of this game, having to constantly upgrade their servers and kind of do that stuff, but I think they had a pretty good roadmap plan for it, and I would like to see them maybe, lock and load, maybe stack some content together and kind of really release a 2.0 of Helldivers 2 and bring the player base back, because that game's great. It's solid foundation.
And it's such an accessible game to jump into too. It's not an overwhelming multiplayer shooter at all. It's really fun. All right, let's move on.
Just don't shoot your buddies. Yeah.
Totally. Moving on to Red Dead Redemption. And no, you're not hearing things. It is Red Dead Redemption, the original that was on the 360 and PlayStation 3 is now on the PC for the first time. This is one of my favorite games I've ever played. This is a game that is just so rich with its narrative and its storytelling and its beauty. It's also a game that has really aged well. It still looks great in 2024. It doesn't look as good as Red Dead Redemption 2. Let's get that out of the way. It's also not as expansive. It doesn't have the play it forever kind of vibes as RDR2, but I like the story better in this. I loved getting to know Marston and the cast of
really
characters.
Curious. I did 2 polls a few weekends ago. I did Red Dead Redemption 1 or Red Dead Redemption 2, and it tied 50-50 after hundreds of votes.
That's wild.
And I did John Marston or Arthur Morgan, and it also tied 50-50 after hundreds of votes.
Holy crap.
So it's very much down the middle. I find that people want to, if they like the first one, they want to explain, yeah, I know the other one has all that, but hear me out. And I think either answer is correct, or I think both are phenomenal kind of generational games. That first game's really good, and there's a lot of different ways to play it now. Whether you get it on the PS4 on sale right now for $39.99 is the Game of the Year edition, comes with Undead Nightmare and all that.
Yeah.
It's on Switch now. You can play this game.
That's right.
PC, of course, and then Xbox is really interesting because they did give it the upgrade treatment.
Yeah.
So if you still have the 360 disc of this game, you can toss it in your Series X, and you're playing a high fidelity version of it that plays very well and looks very well.
Yeah, I love that.
So great game.
I've been playing it on Steam Deck and just completely sucked right back in, racing around with Bonnie McFarlane, and I just love the curation that's in this game. It's not so overwhelming, and like there's a lot. It's a lot more focused, and just beautiful narrative work in this as well. Just love this freaking game. So I'm super psyched that PC players can finally pick it up, and we're gonna move on to Dragon's Dogma 2, which is also available for a bunch of other platforms out there. And I think it's still the best on the PC, although PS5 Pro has improved its frame rates and stuff. This is a game that's so big with its ideas that it struggles a little bit. There's frame rate issues, things load in.
The hardware has to catch up.
Yeah. And anything goes in it as well. Like, you just will jump on the back of a dragon, and just try to, wherever that thing is going, you're going. And things just get nuts in this title. And that's the fun of it. It's just, you don't know, you turn a corner and you're fighting a giant wolf, and and he takes out all your characters, all your buds, and you got to survive. And it's a really, really cool game.
The obtuseness of Capcom games, where it's just like they take what is usually a simple concept and then put so much wacky stuff on top of it, it becomes something completely unique to itself. Dragon's Dogma is absolutely that. The first game's got such a cult following because of all those ways it chose to be so weird and wacky. And when you look at this game and the pawn system and how that all works, you wonder if just an MMO, just something where you just co-op with buddies, may have made this game more successful or a little more approachable. But what's here is, if you dig into it, really interesting. Yes, there are some issues with the fidelity and the performance of the game, but in all those ways that Capcom games can be weird and unique, this has got it. It's got that kind of feel to it. So if you like that first game, I mean, check it out. I played maybe a couple hours of this. It was just like one of those things where just like, do I have 200 hours right now to put into this? Maybe I wait.
It's a commitment, but it's
definitely one to get back to.
It's one of the best of the year, and people are raving about it for very good reason. I've enjoyed the hell out of what I've played too. I think it's really cool. We're going to switch to a totally different idea now. This is Tetris Forever, which is a recent release, and it's a collection of a bunch of different Tetris games, but it's more about the documentary. It's more about the making of Tetris and the history of Tetris and the future of Tetris, which is what Digital Eclipse has been doing with their recent collections. They have this whole series where they're focused on specific creators and their stories and their personal lives and their histories and their ambitions and their families and the human sort of efforts it takes to build this work. And it's just an incredible project. Really, really cool.
For sure. Like, something to keep in mind too is, like, Digital Eclipse does not have access to everybody in the world of in the Tetrisphere, as it were, not to be confused with the game Tetrisphere. But they do what they can. Like Tetris is my nomination for like the video game of all time. Like if we were going to shoot one into space, it should be Tetris on an 80s Game Boy.
Right.
But it's they only have access to what they have access to. A lot of people have passed around Tetris in the year, and the history of Tetris is very sordid and all over the place, which makes it so fascinating. Just its origins alone. So this is a cool effort. I think Tetris Effect is maybe the definitive casual Tetris to come back to for people if you've got VR or something like that to check it out with.
I love that game.
One of the best games of all time. Yeah. But there will be more Tetris games. So this one fills the niche of kind of being more of a compendium, I guess. But
and they also made a Tetris Warp game, which takes you through all eras. Like it's a brand new game that the developers at Digital Eclipse worked on, which I also like. Is like they go back in time and they look at the stuff, but they also refresh everything, or they clean things up, and they bring something brand new out to the table, and that's what the Tetris Warp game does. But really cool collection. I love what Digital Eclipse is about, and I love the efforts that they take to kind of keep us connected to the history of this medium. Really, really, really cool stuff.
For sure.
Tetris Time Warp, it's called. I wanted to pick a PC title that is specific to the PC, because a lot of these games have been on a bunch of different platforms, and the only one that I really spent any time with, because I streamed it, was Homeworld 3, and I know it could have been other RTS games or other PC experiences. Feel free to let me know in the comments below if I should have talked about another one. And I also know that Homeworld 3 is not the most revered of the Homeworld games, but look at this game. It still looks incredible. The visuals are so unique and so easily identifiable as this franchise. I know the developers went through a lot to get this to us, but aesthetically and production-wise, the music is amazing. All the chatter that you hear from ship to ship. This is about pivoting the camera in a bunch of different directions and trying to not only move your craft into the right formation, but also puzzle solve against where the enemies are and where the designs of the environments, the derelict ships and things like that you run your craft through and fly around. I think this is a stunning game. And there's been some major improvements, although that might be the end of the improvements with Homeworld 3 because it launched earlier this year, and there's been a lot of back and forth with the community and with the developers. But I had fun playing it. Again, I'm years removed from playing the previous Homeworld games or many RTS games in general, but to jump into this one, I felt like a bit of a homecoming, I guess, pun intended, and it just felt it felt really, really fun. And I think that games like this are important on the PC platform, because that's where you would want to play an experience like this. This is not an easy game to port to a console or a Steam Deck or whatever. And I hope people are liking it more, but I enjoyed it. And it, because I didn't have other exclusive PC titles or exclusive to the PC, that's why this one ended up on my list. I did enjoy this one.
It's a feature.
It's a feature, yeah. All right.
How are those? Have you haven't tried any of those? I know they put all the Age of Mythologies and stuff. They put it on Game Pass, right?
Yes.
So like people are technically playing those games on Xbox controllers.
I know they are, and I've heard good things, and I like those Age of Empires games as well. But I haven't gone to play those. But I did when this came out. I definitely wanted to play this. Also, Company of Heroes last year. I didn't get back to Company of Heroes 3. These are like some of my favorite RTS games. It is a different time, it's a different time to release these titles. The audience seems to have shifted to other things out there, but I don't know. I still love real-time strategy games when I spend the time to dive back into them. All right, let's move on to a fighting game for the PC, but also lots of other ones, and that is Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. It's only on next-gen machines, so it's on PS5 and Xbox Series S and X and PC, and that's because it uses Unreal Engine 5, and it's freaking nuts, this game. It is insane how big the fights get and how much you can just blast through environments and just keep on battling. You'll be flying up in the sky, and then boom, you're smashing your opponent through a mountain, and then you're underwater with that in the same battle, and it's just like all kinds of crazy, insane things are happening, and it's so stimulating and enjoyable and super slick. I think this is doing very well. Is this a hit with you guys?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a crowd pleaser. The fandom is into it. I mean, they had Dragon Ball Fighters come out, which was kind of a Marvel vs. Capcom kind of take on a Dragon Ball Fighter. But there is a very popular Dragon Ball series. There's Budokai. There's the Tekken games that were hugely popular for just being kind of like 3D arena fighters, where you could get all your characters, do your power ups, do your transformations, and shoot the giant beams and stuff like that. This very much delivers on that.
It's a throwback.
It looks incredible.
Yeah,
it's a return to form. Namco did like Jump Force and a bunch of those games for a while that were kind of like compilation 3D. This is coming. This is kind of bringing it back. People are really excited for it. I have not played this one myself yet, but I knew if I got the right group of people together, we could definitely sink some hours into this.
It's insane.
As we did all those PS2 Dragon Ball games. So yeah, it's on sale right now too, which is even better.
Yeah,
$59.99 Canadian dollars on PS5 and Xbox right now. You can get Sparking Zero, and good few years for the Dragon Ball license.
Yes.
What else is left? Like they did some Dragon Ball RPGs. Kind of in the Game Boy era and DS. They did Xenoverse, which is kind of like an insert your own character into an arena fighter. That game is also still insanely popular. We sell tons of Xenoverse 2. So make no mistake, Dragon Ball is a very popular IP, and this game is very much pleasing that fandom. So it's popular. It's
great
very good
to see. It's great to see.
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
Super cool title. And I believe it's playable on Steam Deck as well. I haven't checked this out on the deck, but
just melt the Steam Deck with a Kamehameha. Yeah,
yeah, super fun. Okay, we're gonna move on to a PC title, but of course it's on every other platform pretty much. It's NBA 2K25. And I love this franchise. I love the NBA 2K franchise. It, aesthetically, they've just nailed the vibe and the look. I mean, the lighting on the court feels like what it feels like when you actually go and see these games live. It's super bright, and I love the move sets and the aesthetics of going through different eras as well. I'm a huge fan of the Michael Jordan era and being able to play the game and have all of these different filters and stuff on that make it look like you're playing it on an old CRT is super cool. But again, it's one of these cluttered experiences, and people nitpick about all of the stuff that gets missed, and it's overloaded with stuff. This time they've embellished the city. There's more things to do and go out on kart races, and it's I think it's
go on
sort
kart
of
races.
Yeah, you can buy these little mini carts and race around with different people, and it's loaded. It's too overloaded. It's like over encumbered with ideas. Some of them I dig, but I do wish that we could kind of just strip it down. And honestly, that's how I play it. I just jump in and play through my own season as my own character, or I jump in and just take matches one at a time. I don't really get into the season mode too much. And every once in a while I venture into the online thing, but it's incredibly competitive and everybody's just showing off, and a lot of people spend a lot of money. That's what these games are all about, is trying to get people to customize their characters, and they show off. They peacock a little bit, but I love playing the game. It's super fun.
It's what a novel concept to play basketball in the basketball game you've bought. But yeah, when we talked earlier about NHL, and it's just like, I wish more people made it. Like, but if it was 2K making it, make no mistake, we would get the 2K version of hockey where you're buying cosmetics or you're pumping money into that version of it. So good to hear. EA never really made it back. They tried to do some stuff with Live there for a bit, and what was there felt a little different to 2K. 2K feels a faster game. The last time I played, I'm trying to remember what even year basketball game I played. But another thing where it would benefit from having some more Street Hoops games. Agreed. Having maybe more budget titles.
You have the concrete modes. Like you do have Street Hoops in this game, but it's buried through different menus, and the menus are most of these sports games are pretty cumbersome. They actually load a little bit slower, and even like going into the city and walking around feels like the frame rates kind of juggle around a little bit, and I just feel like there's too much packed in, and they should. I know that the reason why they do it is so that there is this idea of customization and outfitting your characters with all the stuff that you can purchase, but let's just get to the game.
If you're putting a kart racer in your basketball game, maybe it's time to step back and like let's
Yeah, you can
Let's
get
see
a
if we can trim
skateboard
some
and a
fat
scooter
here.
and all
Yeah.
kinds of stuff. And yeah, I know. It's kind of nuts. It's getting crazy. All right, well, speaking of crazy, I've got an awesome PC indie title, but it's also out there for everything else as well. Thank goodness, including the Mac. Thank goodness you're here. I don't know if you've checked this game out. It's delightful. It's like a Monty Python insane. I mean, this is the gameplay. You're looking at gameplay right here. It's not like a cutscene. You're actually running around as this little dude. You're going through pipes and getting your head stuck in all kinds of weird stuff. And you're doing chores and odd jobs. And at one point, there was a kid stuck in a manhole, and I had to get some butter to smear it around him so he could pop out. Yep. At one point, I posted this on our YouTube channel. I was walking past a fence, and a little eye was peeking through and looking at my character as he walked by, and he goes, "Hello, hello, would you like a sausage?" And he puts a sausage through the little eye hole, and he says, "Would you like another?" And he just keeps putting so it's just it's just a weird, very unique experience. Super hyper British humor. And it's clever as hell, and it's just fun as hell to play. I freaking adore this game. I think it's one of the most special games of the year.
Comedy is one of the toughest things to do in a video game, or anywhere, I guess, really. But it's if you nail it in the video game medium has so many different ways to make that interactive or to change the punchline of the joke. So this looks adorable.
It's an incredible game. Absolutely. UFO 50 also fits that bill.
Yes.
There's a sense of humor here as well, but also an unbelievable amount of dedication. They built 50 fake NES games and made that the game. And they're not like mini games. They're full games. Some will take you hours and hours to finish.
Lazy. It's hard to. It's not a thing they put in as a joke. It's like each one is like given an attention to detail that you normally wouldn't put in a joke. Like the backgrounds, the art, everything that's rendered, the UI that they put in all this. I hope to death they had a bunch of fun making this game because it's fun to play.
Yeah, it's super cool. Again, this is a great pickup for the handheld PCs out there. But one of the most clever and rewarding and value-packed indie title and video game titles of 2024. Very cool experience. And then this one is one that everybody's been talking about all year long.
Oh boy,
people are addicted as hell to it. I've played a little bit of it, and I haven't had I can feel the compulsion, but I haven't crossed over to like I can't think about anything else mode. You know, has this one hooked you? Are you super addicted to this one?
This one is in our house. It's infecting some people in our house. We had it on Steam. I believe it's been now purchased on mobile as well.
Yeah.
If Filatro's being paid because you'll ask something and then you'll have asked the wall. It's an incredible game. It's an incredible rogue, kind of solitaire poker game. I've only really watched it over a shoulder because I know it's definitely kind of my thing as well. I much more like games like games that make you think you're playing more of a video game like a Loop Hero or something if I'm going to play something like this, but I absolutely see the appeal. I absolutely see why you could spend 8 hours straight playing this.
Yes.
And it might very well be game of the year this year at the show.
Awards.
So so it's
Kudos to the developer. I think one person made this, and they just nailed it. They developed something that obviously we have some familiarity with these regular playing cards, but there's a lot more depth and a lot more. There's kind of like Inscription in a way, right? It's just this. It appears to be something, and then it gets much cooler and deeper and richer.
We all know how a deck of cards work. We all know how the suits of a deck of cards work. And now you're building a game on top of that. And on top of that, we have to talk about the aesthetic, like the look, the sounds, the weird, like spacey, trippy backgrounds that are always going on in this game. It feels like you're like playing Polybius or something. It feels like this is a government experiment to see how long they can keep you playing a endless poker game. And they're succeeding. It's working.
Yeah, or something that you'd be playing with Joker in a Persona game or something. There is this really cool, twisted kind of vibe about all of this stuff. And take a look, the little play here icon on the side, it's on everything. It's on Mac, iOS, machines. Android, everywhere. So like it's irrefutable and it's unavoidable. And good luck to you if if you get addicted to this one. One cool thing with this is that it's one of the Apple Arcade games. So maybe a subscription to Apple Arcade might not be a bad choice for an iPhone owner, or you can play our Apple Arcade games on anything, even the Apple TV. But if you've got an Apple fan
force
in
your
your
family to
in
watch
your
you
life,
play.
yeah. And there's no microtransactions on Apple Arcade stuff, which is one of my favorite things about it. So you get the full game on everything, and they've got a pretty good collection of titles on that service.
Right, time to bring out the big guns. With these planet cards to permanently increase our level and tarot cards to power them up, taking our 4 of a kind to wild, soaring new heights that will surely... Okay, it's time to break things.
So people go to PNP Games online.com to do all their shopping, but on any of their socials, they have to DM you. So whether you're on Blue Sky, are you on Threads as well?
We're on Threads as well. Yeah, can you DM on Threads? I don't know, but
I don't even know. I don't. There's too many of these
I
things.
love EP Classic DM gets you entered for all the giveaways we have kind of mentioned today. Other than those coupons, which are available and hot right now as soon as they're used. So get on it. Yeah.
So give us those coupons one more time.
PNP Gift Guide $10 off your purchase of 150 or more, and the first person to use Give Me 50 EP1 is getting $50 off their purchase.
So the first person to use that as a gift code right now. So if you go to pnpgamesonline.com right now and buy something, you get $50 off. The one slur got it. There it is. That's amazing.
Oh, perfect.
There it is.
You saved the whole
Congratulations. That's awesome. Thank you for being here for this long show, but we hope you got something out of it.
For sure.
And there's lots of great games. I know that there was some discussion on social media that this has been a slow year for games. It maybe hasn't been the banger year that 2023 has, but there have been awesome games. We just gave you more than 50 of them, and there's lots that we didn't get into, I'm sure. So let me know in the comments below what we missed. But thank you all so much for watching. Thank you for being here for the live show on twitch.tv/EPN. If you're not following our channel there, definitely hit that. And thank you for watching this later on our YouTube channel. We will see you soon, and until then, play forever. Thank you, Lee.
Thank you, Vic.